All right. I think we're good to go. So, wait, let me just make some back-end changes real quick for you guys. Before you guys start complaining, oh, there's no audio, oh, there's no something. You guys always have something to tell me. There's always something. Never do I hear when I start a stream, just good job, Morge. The setup, it seems nice. It looks like you got it right. I've never heard that. There's always a problem. There's always some problem. All right, so let me just do this. One second. Yep. All right. Thomas Cass says, your shirt is dirty. This just came out of the laundry. So if it looks like it's dirty, it's lint. Leave me alone. Your OG says probably because the setup always has a problem. Not true. Well, sometimes. I think if you swapped always for sometimes, you might have a case, but I don't think that's quite accurate. What's the audio? Alfred Leth asked, how's my shoulder? Enough with the shoulder questions. We're done with those. All right? I'm tired of hearing them. No more shoulder questions. The shoulder is fine. In fact, it's great. Virgil Hawkins says, you need a better dryer then? All right. See if I can pick one up. It's not my birthday. My shoulder is fine. Anime Devil Hunter brings up a great point. Chainsaw Man Part 2. That'll be discussed in today's stream. Here's the situation. All right? So I saw some people asking. I saw some people asking earlier while we were talking about, the stream getting, once the stream was loading and things like that and people are in chat talking. I saw some people asking, is this going to be a tier list? People saying, I thought no more tier list streams. Well, guess what? Let's make this very clear from the start. This is not a tier list stream. Why? Because if I did a tier list of all... Oh, no, is it time to turn on slow mode? Do I have to turn on slow mode here? I feel like I shouldn't have to turn on slow mode till we hit 1,000. Till we hit like 1,000 viewers. That seems reasonable. So, here's the situation. No tier list. We're not doing a tier list. Why? Because one, you guys are tired of tier lists. I'm tired of tier lists. We're going to do one for the color spreads for sure on an upcoming day. But that's going to be one of the last tier lists that we do. All right? Enough with the tier lists. More importantly, I can't make a tier list of all these other manga that aren't One Piece without so many people will get mad at me. I can't deal with it. Right now, if you go on Twitter, if you go on Reddit, etc., you see enough One Piece fans mad at me about Watto's results, blah, 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 blah. All right? I've got enough of a problem with the One Piece fan base after me. I don't need Hunter x Hunter fans angry because I didn't put Hunter x Hunter in the right tier. I didn't need Berserk fans angry because I didn't put Berserk in the right tier. I don't need Jojo's fans. I don't need to turn all of these other fan bases against me, okay? I'm not exactly in a situation where I'm like, you know what? I've got the One Piece fans all angry at me. Why don't I see if I can go out and add some more people to this crowd? Let me see who else I can get in the mix here because I think I could be doing better. I think I could piss off those Naruto fans over there. I think those Bleach fans could stand to be riled up a little bit. That's not what's going through my head right now, all right? So at the moment, Thomas Cass says, can we discuss Chainsaw Man Part 1 spoilers in chat? No spoilers in chat. That's another rule, all right? Because last time, I think for 1052 stream, I talked about a few of 1053 spoilers on accident. Actually, it's not. I knew I was talking about spoilers, but it was a moment of stupidity, okay? Everybody in chat's talking about the buggy spoilers, etc., basically. So in that moment, not everybody, but I see it quite frequently. I saw it all over Twitter. Saw it on, I just thought that it was a bit of an open secret. So I mistakenly assumed it's an open secret. Everyone had heard about the buggy spoilers, which is why I was just like, yeah, Buggy being a Yonko, that's confirmed. Not realizing that, a lot of people weren't sure if it's real or not, etc. That was a bad moment. So from now on, no more spoilers. We can talk about some general stuff. We all know Naruto becomes Hokage, right? We can talk about that. We all know Berserk has some bad things happen to him, right? Not Berserk. You know what I mean? We all know Guts has some bad stuff happen to him, right? We don't have to get into specifics, but we can talk a little bit about, we know there's a dark continent, right? We know general things. We know things from different series, right? We know JoJo's doesn't end after part 1. We know there's 7, 8 more parts after that, okay? So I think we can talk about some general things. We know stands are a thing. Lord Chungus, thanks, appreciate it. J.K. Kane says, who do you like better, Makima or Griffith? I love Makima as a villain, but it's just like, Griffith's just got more, it's just like the resume, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I like Luka Doncic, great player. He popped up recently, right? But I'm not going to be like Luka's, my favorite player over like Steph or LeBron. Like they've just done it for so much longer, I've seen so much more out of them. There's just a different resume you're competing with there. I will say Makima is my favorite shonen villain, I think by a good amount. Depends how you call Hunter x Hunter characters, if like certain characters, are they villains, are they what or whatever, but I think Makima is easy my favorite shonen villain at the moment. JK Kane says, no, we just covered you. Ivan back from the card shop says, did you know you're responsible for us hating Wano? Okay, so here's the thing. There's a certain video, 2 videos I want to make, right? Wano arc analysis for sure, but then a full ass video talking about my feelings on Wano, what I did and mostly did not enjoy, because you guys, there's no use hiding it. I mostly didn't enjoy it, right? So what I did/didn't enjoy. We're going to be talking about that. And mostly as it relates to also the raid failing, what I thought, why I thought certain things, etc. Basically how that played into my opinions on the arc, etc. Right? So we're going to get a full breakdown on all of that. I wanted to drop that during this break, but looks like Oda decided that this was not... the break didn't take place after the end of Wano. So I'm like, if I drop the video now, it's like, what if stuff changes over the next few chapters? So it's like, I kind of got to wait till Wano actually ends before I drop stuff like that. Disaster Master says, they're keeping Pluton in the underwater dock they told us about, which was the correct way to enter Wano. It was locked off because the borders were closed. Sukiyaki will reveal that they were close to protect Pluton. Ah, that's interesting. That's an interesting idea. I really like that idea, but I feel like Kaido should have come upon it in these last 20 years or so, right? Felix C says, do an emotional manipulator tier list. I don't even know what that means. Who am I ranking on there? Pena says, Usopp hero mode still coming, both plant users. Exploding emoji face. I've lost all faith in an Usopp hero mode. What is this? Good Life says, Morge came off his meds, so he's pissy about his about silly shoulder questions. I am off the muscle relaxer meds. That is correct. Ninerbot says, in my opinion, Wano was a whack arc. It was like Oda was locked in a dungeon and they had Kubo write it. Too many retcons, unresolved plots, and chosen one stuff. I think here's the biggest thing I'll say. The biggest thing I'll say is that I feel like a lot of the discussion around Wano that really annoys me in terms of like, was it a good arc? Was it blah, blah, blah? To me, a lot of that is that like, I feel like too much of it is going after the plot threads. So I think too many people are like, well, like it narrows the whole debate down to like, well, look at all of these plot threads, and then people are like, those plot threads aren't important, or this isn't important, etc. Basically, or like other arcs have unresolved plot threads, and then they like do some huge reach to somehow twist like some perfectly fine arc from the past, like Enies Lobby, into saying like, well, see, this had plot threads or something, and it's some bullshit or something. But the main point being that like, it's not about the plot threads. That's the most, I guess, surface level aspect of what you could talk about with Wano being incomplete, and that's not to go after you, Ninerbot, because that is a fair thing to talk about. But I could do a whole video breaking down, and I'm probably going to. I mean, I've just talked about it. I think the videos I'm going to talk about, I'm pretty much just going to avoid even talking about plot threads, because that's really not the crux of what I think is, what I personally felt the elements that were missing from Wano were. Because I think that that's a whole different conversation. I can talk about plot threads a little bit, because, yeah, you can go into it, and there are a shocking number of plot threads that are clearly either heavily implied to be narrative setups or clear, explicit, undeniable narrative setups that have then no payoff, right? They fall into those two categories. And that's a bulk of what happened in Wano that you could, talk about. But I think I can avoid talking about those entirely, because I think anytime you get into the plot threads discussion, it's just the wrong discussion to be having, because it just gets into too much like, is this nitpicking? Is this like wrong expectations? Blah, 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 blah. I think I can avoid that whole argument and just discuss certain things in Wano that I felt you can compare to any single other major One Piece arc. Like any other, like Arlong Park, Alabasta, Dressrosa, Skypiea, Thriller Bark, any other major One Piece arc, post-time skip included, Dressrosa, Whole Cake, whatever, and be like, this was missing this element that Oda normally executes really, really well, and he just chose not to do this here, chose not to do this here, chose not to do this here, because Wano's just filled with a million things like that. But we're not here to talk about Wano today. Oh, Caleb Brown says, "Are you a Griffey did nothing wrong guy, Morji?" No. Although Griffith is my favorite character in the series, but because he's an interesting character, not because he's a character that is like a good guy by any means. Like, it's funny that the Griffith did nothing wrong thing is just so blatantly and easily something that you can reject as a premise, because it's like, it'd be one thing if it's like you're trying to make the case that Griffith, there's pros and cons to what Griffith did. Like, we're about to do pros and cons of different series, right? It's one thing if you want to make that case, right? It's another thing entirely if you're just like, Griffith did nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. Because, okay, we're going to try and not get into spoilers or anything like that, but there's some very blatant things that you can just be like, well, this is clearly wrong. This shit is clearly bad. Like, this is pretty bad. The one true edgelord said, "Morge, you said taking notes helps you get better at narrative analysis. Can you explain your process of notes?" The way I do it is pretty much anything that, okay, there's two parts of it. All right. So for me, I think anything that stands out as like a notable piece of dialogue, right? You put that down, or anything that seems like it's implied to be a statement, or any plot event that seems like it fits into, okay, starts with dialogue. So you keep track of dialogue, right? Because dialogue is where the author is going to be first suggesting openly what the themes are of the series that are going to be important, right? Themes of the arc, etc., right? Very early in any arc, you can kind of identify the author seems to be bringing up certain points multiple times, right? In Wano, you can see isolationism being talked about multiple times, starting with Zoe to the beginning chapters of Wano, etc. Same with Spirit, same with whatever, right? So the author's always going to be talking about that. So you're keeping track of that, and you're writing that stuff down anytime that comes up, and anytime something that seems like it could be implied to be similar to that comes up, right? So like Whitebeard talking about how there's too many Conquerors users in Wano, right? That does in some way connect to the idea of leadership and stuff like that, which is a theme in Wano. So you write that down, right? So you jot down those things. Then two, anything plot-wise, so actual events that come out of things that like, oh, this seems to relate back to this idea that the author has slipped into dialogue many times, right? And then the last thing is that anytime something happens that you think is really, really good, this is the not fun part. Anytime something happens that you think is really, really good, after that scene is over or whatever, you can't just enjoy it. You have to go sit down and like really try and think and break down and write why it was really good. Okay, if you do that, I think that changes a lot, because that helps you kind of connect a lot of pieces. Because I think lots of times, like, you can say like the Robin I want to live moment, that's a really good scene when you first watch it, right? Makes you feel very emotional, etc., right? But if you sit down after watching it and then you're like, okay, why did I really like it? And then you start, like, if you just do that process, then you're going to start working backwards into some really interesting stuff that'll connect to a lot of other things in the arc. Sorry, because most likely the author has done a lot of things over the course of the arc. It's not just that he put, like, a sad backstory for Robin that then resulted in her saying, I want to live, and that flip was really cathartic or whatever. It's a lot of other ideas that probably led to that moment, us feeling like, okay, subconsciously or whatever, this feels like it completes or closes off some really significant character turmoil or conflicts and things that were happening, not just with Robin, but with the entire crew as a whole. And it sends a really strong message that connects to a lot of the other ideas that were going on in the arc, etc. Like, so that's a annoying thing, but you kind of just got to do that after any scene that you like happens. Justin Holland says, could you do a video of the world-changing building brotherhood of Ace, Luffy, and Sabo? I'm thinking of doing a Reddit post on it. You just do the Reddit post, man. I'm probably not going to do a video on it. Grizzly Adams says, this Pluton stuff provides a perfect opportunity for Frankie to finally get some long overdue character development. I mean, in the post-Wano, post-arc section of it, maybe. Let's see. Would have loved to have seen that during the arc. Goomba Boomba says, the Strats first planned the party to celebrate Jinbei joining the crew, but Oda intentionally made Jinbei the only one left out of the party. Thoughts? ? Oh, that's actually a really interesting idea. I mean, I assume Jinbei will show up probably in the second. This party seems like it's going to go on for 2 chapters, right? So probably he'll show up in the second chapter of this. That's actually a really, really cool idea. A really cool point, Goomba Boomba. That's something that nobody's mentioned. But Jinbei showing up, I assume in the next chapter, so, and then that way they can make a big deal out of his toast or something. Alfred Lett says, have you caught up on Vinland? It's currently peaking and even better than Farmland. Look, the Baltic Sea War arc was so bad that it'll take a lot for me to go back to Vinland. I'll see how I feel. Maybe if Vinland's like closing, then I'll definitely catch up to it. Aztec Device says, big spoiler, please avert your ears. Sogeking is allegedly God Usopp. What's your favorite Berserk arc? Favorite Berserk arc is Conviction. I think the best written arc is Golden Age. Goodlift says, thoughts on Green Bull's suicide pact tattoo. Makes him have a lot of potential for an interesting character, especially with us knowing that he hasn't eaten for 3 years. He's been fasting for 3 years, so he's been waiting on something, it seems like, based on the little parallel that he has with Yamato, who also explains like why she's been fasting. Mo says, I'm wondering what your take on Naruto reincarnation and Destiny. I think most people have incorrect interpretation on it. I could 100% believe that most people have incorrect interpretation on it. Here's the thing. I don't care enough about Naruto to give a strong stance on it. So for me, it's like, if I wanted to really go through and like give a better take on Naruto, I would have to go back and reread Naruto. And let's be very clear, I'm not trying to hate on Naruto or anything like that, because within the last 6 months, I actually have gone back and rewatched part 1, Naruto before Shippuden. I've actually rewatched, I won't say in full, but I've watched like Naruto episodes again because I just felt like it. I like Naruto. I like me some Naruto in pieces. I don't like the ending of Naruto, and I don't like a lot of Shippuden, but I like some Naruto in pieces. Leman, wow, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I really didn't like yet another sense of the elders getting mad at their own mistake. These elders are hyper incompetent. Like, it sounds like they're just a bunch of dummies with limited information who kind of just wait for Im to talk to them. In contrast, I really like the scene of Luffy's first bounty with all those Marines gathering and deliberating. Also, bless you since you sneezed last podcast. Thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, you guys can catch my podcast on Patreon if you want some extended thoughts on everything. I appreciate that, Leman. And we're going to get into the ratings for different series in a second after this question from Ben. Where's the best place to discuss One Piece? I usually go to Reddit, but in my opinion, it's gone downhill. How about the Morge comments section? How about that? It's like, it depends what you want to discuss about One Piece. There's the One Piece Reddit's the biggest hub, obviously. Twitter, I would say, is not the best place because it's just short discussion. Like, you can't talk much in the number of characters. There's our pirate folk, but I think that's for people who don't like One Piece, kind of like how Game of Thrones had like our free folk. I think One Piece has the equivalent of that, basically. So it's like, if you don't like One Piece, go over there and talk about it. If you go to the Morge comments section. That's all I got to say. Go to the Morge comments section. Talk about there. All right, guys. We're going to talk about something way better, which is other series. Not that other series are better than One Piece. I just mean, you know, it's the title of the stream, right? It's the title of the stream. We're rating every manga that's not One Piece. Do I mean every manga in the literal sense? No. Because as far as I know, there are dozens and dozens of manga out there. There are literally 40 plus manga out there. There's 50, probably even, I don't know, maybe 100 plus manga in existence. Who knows? The number is astronomically high. So I'm not going to rate hundreds of things. We're just going to do the basic shit because that's just what I know. Super Sick One says, so if Kuina never died as dumb as she did, how strong would she be and what role in the story would she play? Because women could be powerful. Yeah, so the whole Kuina thing is kind of hilarious in retrospect because it's kind of like, it's just like, look at Yamato. Yamato's fucking strong as shit and like she's just lived on a little island all her life. Although, to be fair, she got like personal experience fighting with Kaido and everything like that. So maybe that's not the best example, but yeah, Kuina could maybe have been really strong. I like to think that the bigger thing between Zoro and Kuina is just like there's a bit of an age gap, right? So that's a little excuse that you can give for Zoro, that Kuina is older than Zoro, so it's like fast forward. It's the same way that Ace was always one step ahead of Luffy, right? Actually, it's pretty interesting, yeah. Zoro and... Whoa, that's pretty interesting. Hold on here. That's a fun, interesting little observation, okay? Let's put the Morge copyright on it, all right? Morge's observation. So Zoro and Luffy, we both realize in retrospect, both had this figure in their lives in childhood, right, who they would continuously challenge to fights and lose every single time. What's the record between Luffy and Ace? Does anybody know? Anyone have the record on hand? What's the record between Luffy and Ace? Is it as bad as Zoro and Kuina? One thing that I thought was hilarious, actually, was that, like, Sanji, when Sanji was being dragged through the mud during Whole Cake Island, because, like, Sanji's brothers would always beat up on him, right? So, like, I think a lot of Zoro fans were, like, making fun of Sanji fans on Twitter, like, your favorite character used to get his ass beat like every single day and bullied as a child. And then like the easy retort that Sanji fans came back with was like, your favorite character literally lost like a 10-year-old girl like 1,000 times in a row, whereas Sanji was getting his ass beat by super soldiers. 72-0. Someone's saying 243-0. Someone's saying, some people are making up numbers at some point. We know that Luffy lost to Ace a bajillion times, right? Luffy loses so every day training, losing to this character, Luffy losing to Ace, Zoro losing to Quina. Ultimately, that elder figure, right, that's beaten their ass, that's the better version of them, has to die so that there's some room for these other characters to flourish, right? So if imagine an alternate universe where Ace is actually hardcore, he's still alive and he's hardcore committed. Whitebeard's convinced him to become the Pirate King. Imagine Ace, fully realized Ace as a competitor to Luffy. Now, I'm never going to doubt Luffy on anything, but that's not fucking Kid or Law in your way anymore. That's Ace, right? Fully realized Ace may as well probably be like fully realized Roger, maybe, who knows. So yeah, I don't know. That would easily be Luffy's toughest rival out of everybody out there, right? If Luffy had to deal with Ace. So same thing with Zoro Quina. I kind of view it as basically like, how strong would Quina be if she got to her full potential? I think Oda removes her from the story so as to solve that question for us, right? Not solve that question for us, but to remove that question from the equation, right? We don't have to worry about how strong Quina would be. I'm not going to doubt Zoro eventually becoming the world's strongest swordsman, but it seems like, Quina most likely would have been an extremely difficult rival all the way to God knows how long. Brandon King says, Quina became a man because of Eva and Koshiro hit it. I mean, that's a popular long-running theory. If we ever run into a character that looks suspiciously like Quina and beat Zoro's ass, then I think we know what kind of happened. All right. Zoro versus Quina is 2001-0, which is just straight up, it's very embarrassing. All right. Let's talk about some series that aren't One Piece. Again, I'm not doing a tier list because if I did a tier list, then I get all these other fan bases angry at me, along with the One Piece fan base that is already very angry at me. I still can't go on Twitter. I'm still in hiding. We got to wait at least probably a week or two before I can poke my head out of the cave. So don't need all these other series fan bases angry at me. And I'm definitely not ranking One Piece in this hypothetical tier list because I don't even know. I think a lot of people are like, well, you got to put One Piece number one. For me, it depends what mood I'm in. If I've just read Enies Lobby or Marineford or something, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll put One Piece at number one. I'll give it its own tier. And I think everything else, I'll be like, fuck it. They're all in I'll put One Piece in S. Everything else, I don't even know. I probably wouldn't even bother doing the rest of the tier list. I'd just put it in tier that's like not One Piece and call it a day. Flip side, if I'm just reread the ending of Wano, I'm in a slightly different mood. In that case, you probably have to invent some other letter in the alphabet after Z for me to figure out what tier I want to put One Piece into. So, it depends on my mood where I would rank One Piece in general. Depends on the mood. I think that's a fair answer. So, what are we ranking today? I figure the fairest way to do this with other series is a pros and cons list. I think strengths and weaknesses. That's something we can all get behind. So hold on. What's the first series we want to go over? Do we want to okay, let me do a poll. Poll. Poll's the best way to do it. First series. Berserk, because it's coming back. I think that's a good option. Jojo's, because a lot of One Piece fans are also Jojo's fans, I've just found for some reason. Naruto, because you guys are a bunch of haters, I bet. And Hunter x Hunter, because it's also coming back. Let's say those. These are the options. Dragon Ball, you guys are just going to say nasty stuff about Dragon Ball. Just like Dragon Ball sucks, One Piece is way better, blah, 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 blah. No one's going to give Dragon Ball any pros. Forget that Dragon Ball inspired a generation or whatever. Okay, we got Berserk winning and Hunter x Hunter. Oh, that's pretty tight. No one likes JoJo's here. That's interesting. All right, I'm going to give it to Berserk. We're going to do Berserk. Although, actually, I think Hunter x Hunter pulled ahead right at that last second. It's too late. My mind's been made up. So first, let me pull out... I gotta Photoshop an image. Just gotta do some professional streamer things. Make this look as good as possible for you guys. This is something. Yeah, this seems right. This seems good. No. Hold on. Yeah. Yeah. I like this. All right. All right. Yeah. Yeah. You guys are going to be very impressed when you see what I'm setting up for you. Very, very impressed. Extremely impressed. Fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Fuck. I've sold it too high. I have a feeling you guys are no longer going to be impressed. How do I do this? Yeah? What the fuck? Oh my god. Why can't I copy paste this? All right. Can't believe I have to. How do you add an image into Microsoft Paint? I feel like that should be very easy. This seems like the simplest thing in the world. So what if I just what? Do I have to draw Berserk myself? Is that how I have to do this? You guys don't even know what I'm dealing with right now. If you understood, you'd be very sympathetic. I'm too embarrassed to show you though, because it feels like it's easily solvable. Okay. Copy. Oh, I did it. All right. Okay. All right. And fuck. All right. Time to screen share. Time to see what I've been putting together for you guys. All right. Ready? Can I do this right? Okay. I'm going to make myself small. All right. And ta-da! Look at that. We got Berserk over here. All right. So now we can proceed to make this list. All right. So we're talking about Berserk. All right. We're talking about Berserk. I thought this would make it bigger. Let's get it even bigger. Let's make it jumbo. All right. Berserk. Pros. Cons. No, cons. All right. So that's what's happening. Now let me rearrange this stream setup so it's not terrible for me to look at. All right. So where are you guys at? You guys are here. Let me pot you guys out. All right. Doing well. And there we go. You guys like this? You guys like this setup? You guys like what you see? We're all okay with this, right? All right. Yeah? John says, are you about to spoil Berserk or is it a spoiler-free review? Spoiler-free. I'll pin that. There are no cons in Berserk, man, says Alfred Leth. I can give one big con right away. Which is, let's start with the cons. All right. One major con. No longer being written by the same author. How about that? I feel like that's a fair con to say. Rest in peace, Miura. Absolutely tragic. I think we're past the statute of limitations or whatever over. I think we're past the point where we have to, basically, where we're not allowed to talk about this, but it's not being written by the same author anymore, right? Is this insensitive if I put that into cons? Is that insensitive? I view that as a compliment to Miura, that I'm saying that, hey, it's not written by the same author. Yeah, Miura dead. That's a con. Obviously, no knock against the series yet. It's waiting on this next chapter. Alfred Lett says that's not a real con. How's that not a real con? That's the biggest. That's arguably the biggest con. It's arguably the biggest con you can put on there. That's not a con. That's not a real con. That's not a real. So what is it then? It's a pro. Indian Punjabi Prince Small PP Man says, my brother, you look like my brother's dad's son. Thanks. Am I not? I can't put this as a con. All right, fine. We'll take it off as a con. Fine. I'll say original version not finished. How about that? Original vision never will be realized. How about that? Is that fair to say? Original vision never to be realized. I think that's the more fair way to say it, because it's nothing against Miura. It's just the reality of it. Never to be realized. This way everybody's happy, right? This way everybody's happy. Also, okay, so I very, very much look forward to Berserk returning. Sincerely, I very much look forward to Berserk returning, but I don't think I look forward as much as some other people do, just because I have my doubts. I have my doubts about the new author. Ivan back from the card shop says, after Wano, Air Gear is going to take One Piece spot in my top 5 manga alongside One Punch Man, Full Metal Alchemist, Magi, and Nanatsu no Taizai. Air Gear was not for me. I remember I tried Air Gear for a bit. I think I fucked with it for a few arcs, and if you enjoyed the way Air Gear went, it's good for you. But for me, no. Original vision never to be realized. Pros, everything else. How about that? Is that fair? Here's my thoughts on Berserk's return, which is just that, I think that if we... Okay. So everything about Berserk's return is suspicious to me. Uninspired says, will you try Arby's Wagyu Burger? No, not from Arby's. Ninerbot says, Con, pedo bait and lollies. Also, you missed a lot of super chats. Fuck. All right, let me catch up on those. I'm going to have to pull these up on my phone, I think, most likely, just to not complicate things visually. So here's my thoughts on Berserk's return. All right? So I feel like I'm happy that the series is continuing, but the tricky thing is, as far as I've heard, he has not told anybody that's not the author that's taking over it. You know what I mean? He hasn't told anybody that's not the author that's taking over it. Ivan says, Air Gear did also end badly. I just want to spread propaganda because roller skates are cool and I'm mad at One Piece. Fair enough. So I think Berserk, the author that's taking over it, I'm a little suspicious because what he said, the author has basically said, I think I'm gonna have to pull up supers here. Basically, the author has basically said, Mori. His name is Mori. Okay, one red flag. His name sounds suspiciously like Miura. Miura Mori. I don't think that's a coincidence, in my opinion. I think it'd be kind of like, if Mario passed away. And it's like, who's going to save the Mushroom Kingdom now? And then this guy named Wario showed up. Just a little suspicious to me. So one aspect is that he's the only guy that can confirm that Miura shared his vision with him. All right? Because at least according to... It's just... We can take his word for it. And it sounds like he was a very, very, very close friend of Miura's. Very, very close friend of Miura's. But we are also having to take his word for it that Miura did share his vision and told him exactly how the story is going to go and everything like that. So that's my only thought. I would love it more so if there were notes or documents or something like that assistants had laid out that show that everybody knows. I don't know. Jacob Patino says, Rikogyu will pilot a giant tree body grown from Onigashima's skull and will use the big sword. There can be a group battle to mirror Ors and Moria. That would be cool. That'd be cool. Mori was a childhood friend of Miura, says Minfet. Yeah, to me, it's just I just want some confirmation from some third-party source that is not the same, I'm probably being too pessimistic, too skeptical, something like that, but, I would just personally like some confirmation, for myself, that it's not just, because what if Berserk comes back and it's you know what, the new character is now, it's not Guts, it's, I don't know, the Farnies or something like that. I don't know. You never know. At what point are we allowed to question whether what's happening in the story is actually Miura's, what Miura wanted, I think that's a fair question to ask. I'm just asking questions out here. So we'll have to wait and see. So let me quickly catch up on the supers I missed, because I could not pull it up on my phone. We covered Ben. Ninerbot says, don't give up on the raid failing. In the next 50 years, the live action will have a different reimagining of the Wano arc, and we will all party and rejoice. The live action is not lasting 50 years. Let's just hope that it lasts a season. How about that? Talha Jahan says Killer versus Sanji. Also, hair look if Oda Lord Morb. I don't understand your... I'll take Sanji over Killer, thank you. I don't understand the rest of your question. Sweeney says, whatever Twitter says, even if the raid feeling didn't come to fruition, your theories were always logical and brought me a lot of joy. Thank you for that. And thank you for your comment. I really, really appreciate that. Genuinely do. Okay, I think we're caught up there. All right, back to previous situation, which was... Can we move on from Berserk? I think it's pretty straightforward. What cons do you guys want me to put? Pros, I got everything else. Cons, okay. What am I supposed to put for Berserk? This was a terrible one to start with. Sakazuki says, have you read Kingdom? I've read the first arc of Kingdom, so it's not going to be going... I'll be happy. You know what? I will happily rate Kingdom. I'll rate Kingdom next. Let's do Kingdom, but you guys will have to tell me the pros and cons, because I don't actually personally know them. So I'll be putting a lot of trust in you guys, and you guys have some questionable takes. So, you know, that way I put aside all responsibility for what's said about Kingdom. Aztec Device says Berserk Pro, incredible action sequence, agreed. Iconic character design, agreed. Some of the best character storytelling and development, agreed. Listen to Skullcast's I think that some of Berserk... I think that the current Band of Hawk that, you know, the new group that Guts is rolling with, basically, I don't think they're as well written as people think. I personally think that most of Miura's best character writing was in the first half of the series, so I think everything post-Conviction is not nearly as well written character-wise as people seem to think. Like, not even close. But because it's Berserk and it still has that sort of status, people are kind of just like, yeah, Shirky is an incredibly written character. It's like, Shirky? I don't know. Even Isidro? No. Farnius was really, really well written until Falcon of the Millennium. Like, Farnius till the end of Conviction, amazingly written character. Farnius since, I think most things post-Conviction, character-wise, not that impressive. But you're looking at the series as a whole, I think, yeah, Berserk, probably number one, in terms of character writing. For most of its main characters. Listen to Skullcast's EP on Koji Mori, details their friendship and history. All I want, Alfred Letts as Farnius is great. Yeah. Pre-Falcon, you know, up till Conviction arc, great. Post that, there's not them, no. Post that, it's like, Farnius' character is written like, it's so by the... Post all that, post her actual real character arc, it's been pretty frictionless character development. Not actually going through that much post-Conviction and all of that stuff. Most of her steps forward as a character are pretty much by the numbers, in my opinion. Now, that being said, again, Berserk, I'd still put it number one for overall its character writing, mainly on the strength of what it did in Golden Age and Conviction, and Lost Children for sure. So, beyond that, look, all I'm saying, I totally believe that Mori Miura, amazing childhood friendship and everything. I just want some third-party source confirmation, something, some assistant, some editor, something, confirming that Miura did, in fact, tell Mori the rest of the story Berserk. That's all I'm asking for. I don't think it's that crazy to ask for. So Vino says Serpico is definitely as good. I mean, at one point. Now he just exists as a I can't spoil, but can't spoil. Imanor 95. I think Serpico Conviction arc, great. And shortly after Conviction arc, great. I think Serpico as he stands now is approaching cardboard cutout territory. Imanor 95 says, Morge, what do you think about Vinland Saga? Great until post Farmland. Then tragedy. Okay, let's BerserkCon, Casca character post Golden Age arc. I'm not as we could talk about Casca. I think gets too controversial to discuss. Not too controversial in that sense, but like it's just you go down a whole rabbit hole with that. Aztec Device says BerserkCon. Some of the topics realistically covered, like rape, incest, infanticide, and so on, can turn away a lot of readers from giving it a chance. I don't view that as a real con. That's just subject matter that might be too. I don't know, just too much for you to handle personally, but it's more like that doesn't make the series itself bad. You know what I mean? All right. Not Nujandru XX says, man, what's the point of this if we can't spoil? Okay, we can spoil like a little bit. I guess we can spoil like a little bit. I'm trying to say basically based on arcs and everything like that. You know, like post this arc, post that arc, and post this general thing happening. You know what? Let's move on from Berserk. Can anybody give me a strong con for Berserk? Felix C says, Morge, rank undead unluck. Sure, 1 out of 10. Never read it. We're moving on, right? Someone give me a strong Berserk con. Alfred Lett says, Berserk con, sometimes the humor is out of touch with its tone plus lolly stuff. Oh yeah, Berserk humor is generally bad, I think, post, later in the... I thought Berserk was actually kind of funny at points, and actually hit its stride really in Conviction, but Berserk, I think its comedy is terrible. I think it's generally really bad. Because where Berserk is at right now, is kind of like... It's almost a pseudo shonen in some sense, where it's like, here's the spoilers we can kind of talk about, which is that you got the main character Guts. He's the protagonist. He's got his squad, his nakama that are all with him, that are committed to, you know, being around him in his mission and all of that stuff to some degree. They go through some friendship stuff over the course of Falcon of the Millennium Empire. They're traveling together. They even go on a boat, if you like that series where groups of main characters and nakamas travel together by boat. They do that for a while. So it's kind of like in this little shonen sphere where, like, right now, you know, they're coming across monsters and baddies and taking them down, being friends, blah, blah, blah. While the characters individually, I think many of them are, you know, good, well written. Obviously Guts, you know, Casca, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, while you can make the case that, like, overall the character writing, like, they're fleshed out characters and everything like that, you know, the gang is not, this is not the, you know, the mystery team. This isn't like the fun Scooby-Doo gang that we're really following around. Like, it's just this weird vibe where, like, it's trying to do shonen style buddy, you know, like, here's some cool, quirky, funny moments with the gang and stuff like that. And to me, it always falls pretty flat. I generally don't think Nier is that good at comedy, which makes those type of scenes really bad. Like, I can list a lot of series that do the group dynamic overall, like, two separate categories, right? If you want to talk about deep brooding conversations or whatever, sure, Berserk's got that on lock. All the main characters, they go through that stuff, right? Two different categories. Brief, like, deep brooding conversations, sure. You want to talk about fun, gag-based quirk stuff, just fun little hangout scenes or whatever, Berserk is bottom tier, all right? My Hero, Black Clover, probably fucking Fairy Tail. These are all series that I would take just a normal hangout chapter of over Berserk any day, guaranteed. But that's pretty much all you can say, which is that Berserk is not the best at being a shonen, but it's also not supposed to be a shonen. Pros are everything else. So that's where I've got it. We're going to move on to the next series, which is going to be whatever wins this next poll. Pina says Berserk con Golden Age is boring as hell. Here's one thing that I've discussed with other people, which is that it's a little different. Okay, so Berserk, I've tried to explain this to people, which is that Berserk is it's much more of a slow burn series than a lot of other series, in that there's very, very little momentum to most arcs, particularly the Golden Age. The Golden Age is not, here's an example of an arc with momentum that you all might know of. Enies Lobby. Enies Lobby has a frantic sense of momentum, okay, because there's a singular goal, which is get back Robin, and it's a snowball of events that keep pushing and pushing to, like, we have to get to this goal, and things, like, ramp up to get further and further, like, as we get closer and closer to that driving need. And it's like, then we're on train, we're rocketing towards this final goal, and then we're hitting this final battle, right? There's a snowball of events that are happening, right? Marineford, same thing to save Ace. It's ramping up. You're hearing the news. Then Luffy's traveling from there to Impel Down, then Impel Down to the Marineford, and then the big battle and everything like that. It's all ramping, snowballing. Berserk has one arc with that sense of momentum. And probably because of my shonen bias, just my natural subjective preferences, Conviction is my favorite arc. Golden Age, I think, is the better written arc. Arguably, many believe, and I would not question it at all, like, the best arc in manga. It is not a momentum-based arc. It has very, very, very low momentum. The things that keep you going from chapter to chapter is just seeing how these character relationships, dynamics, etc. play out. But there is very little plot momentum. It's more so almost a menagerie, or like series of scenes individually spaced out over long periods of time, where we're gradually building up this goal of, Griffith achieving his dream and things like that. And along the way, you're getting these individual scenes, these, I wouldn't say slices of life, but like episodes of what's happening with these characters, right? But there's very little momentum snowballing things in a certain direction, right? That really only happens towards the tail end of Golden Age. So when people say Golden Age is boring, I think that's what they mean, which is that Berserk, you could argue, does not have, for the most part, does not have a very momentum-based plot. I'm not even going to put that in cons, though, because that's like, there's so many series you could criticize for that when that's not really their goal. Talha Jahan says, typo in the last super chat, meant to say hair looking good, Lord Morb. Oh, thanks, I appreciate that. Supreme Part King says, rate Fairy Tail. Let's be objective as possible, guys. Ha ha ha. We're probably not going to do that. This is not just a stream to hate. Ninerbot says, Khan, the magic lolly ruined all stakes and tension with the cowl. She fixes everything and is clearly some type of Mary Sue love child from Yura. Yeah, I think Shirky is generally terrible. I'm going to throw in Shirky, and that'll be it. Shirky. I'm not going to go so far as to say it ruins the series, because that's like, I personally think that the series was much stronger pre-Falcon and all of that, and I think the series took a sharp turn into territory that it's not as strong in post that, and Shirky is maybe the primary reason for that. She's kind of like the poster child for what kind of happened. But, it's still Berserk. Aztec Device says the red Beherit is the One Piece. I don't know about that. Phantom Griffer says, Miss Super from DR, read Golden Kamui, a comedic action thriller with great characters and story. You're actually one of the... I've heard many people push Golden Kamui. Many people, people in real life. I won't say many people, but, it's weird that it's happened enough times. Two separate people who don't know each other have told me to read that or to follow that, and then you said that here. That's interesting. AZ Fan says, last chapter was just the characters hanging out and was great. Chapter before that was cringe, though. I don't know if you're talking about One Piece or what. Peanut says, I got Golden Age at 3 out of 10, Morji. Okay. For me, it's just why don't you just fucking give it a 1 out of 10 at that point? Why are you, what's the 3 for? It's like an arc that most people consider to be, 10/11 out of 10 or whatever you're covered in. You're like, actually, I've got it at 3. It's like, fuck it. Just give it a 1. Just give it a 0. What's the 3 for? What did you like? All right. We're moving on. We're done with Berserk. We're going to move on to, I'll just do a whole new thing. File new. Don't save. I don't know what I would save out of this. We are moving on to Hunter x Hunter. How about that? Actually, you guys okay with that? Let me see. Next series. Hunter x Hunter. Jojo's. Naruto. I don't even know what else we get to. You guys, and if you guys want to, you know what? I don't even know what the next series is. So if you guys want to suggest one more, please throw it in. I'm just assuming the ones that you guys want to talk about. Are you guys excited about Hunter? Is that what people are saying yes for? I don't even know what people are excited for. Okay, people really want to talk about Hunter x Hunter. Chinho Wong says hiatus. No, Chinho, you haven't heard the news. You didn't hear the news. I'm a little biased because you know what I watched yesterday? I don't normally watch anime, but yesterday I was just in the mood. Wait, why did I erase that? Who let me erase that? All right, good thing we've got our tools. How do I make it go back to the normal thing? It doesn't matter. Okay. You guys don't even know what I'm talking about. All right. Hunter x Hunter. Wait, fuck. No, this has got to be a lot bigger. Yeah, so yesterday I watched Hunter x Hunter, actually a little bit. I just felt, because the series is coming back, I might want to do videos on it. I was like, fuck it, let me watch Hunter x Hunter again from the beginning. Not the first episode, though, because I'm not going to watch from, the beginning. I don't need to see Gon with his fucking fishing rod being like, I don't know, hunting some shit in the forest and being like, I want to get on a boat and stuff. I don't know. No one needs to read the first couple chapters of Hunter x Hunter. That's not true, obviously, but I skipped to when they're at the Hunter exam, right? Hunter x Hunter. There we go. Nice and big. Jaden Vaughn says Monster. I have not read it, but I don't care. I will happily do series I haven't read. Vagabond. Wait. We need the visual. Hold on. We need the visual. You guys won't understand without the visual. You'll be confused. I need to give you guys the visual. Right now, you guys, you don't understand what's happening. I have to show you. There needs to be a clear image that makes you see what this stream is about. I don't trust you guys will be able to understand it otherwise. All right. Let's do this. All right. Let's paste here. All right. All right. And big reveal time. Fucked up the big reveal. Big reveal. Ta-da. All right. You guys can all see that? All right. So we got Hunter x Hunter up next. Let's make our usual pros and cons. Fuck. Why is that? You know what? It was fine the way it was before. Let's make it nice and big so people can see. Cons. Coins. Cons. All right. All right. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. Make sure that nothing... Wait, is the stream setup fine? You guys can see everything? You guys can see everything. Yeah, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. Until then, you can be entertained by my chair, my new chair. You guys can't make fun of my old chair like you used to. The times are changing. All right. Did everybody leave? What happened? Yeah, no one can make fun of this chair at this point. At this point, the composer says someone tell Morge he's talking too much. Who the fuck else is going to talk in this stream? It's just me. I'm the only one here. All right. Let's go. Virgil Hawkins says Vista and Jojo can solo the Straw Hats each. I don't know if that's true. All right, Hunter x Hunter. Let's focus up. Let's focus up real quick. Get in shape. All right, pros and cons. Pro, Nen. Sure, let's say that's a pro. Wait, this font is way too big. We got to move it down. All right, Nen. That's a good pro. Let's talk pros first. Cons, Leorio is boring. Hey, no. Leorio is like my top 5 favorite character. I love Leorio. Leorio's great. Jinho Wong says no more shoulder pain from new chair. Not gonna lie, the chair was a big part. I mean, the shoulder pains were a big part of the chair situation. Needed that. Leorio's great. Orlando says pros, best power system in manga. Let me actually throw that out. Do people believe in that? Is Hunter x Hunter the best power system in manga? Yes. No. Now, I have no opinion on this. Reason being, when I first went through Hunter x Hunter, my opinion was kind of split on that. It was kind of like, okay, it's adding a lot of cool new stuff, but I feel as though I feel like in my initial read through, I felt like certain older ideas were treated as less important or kind of waved away as time went on. I don't know. But I'm going through my watch through again. So this time I'm going to be more careful when paying attention to it. Okay, so people say yes, end poll. I could get behind that. Sacteptic says hockey, devil fruit, greater than. There's a few ways you can look at it. One is like what makes for the best structure or the best conception, like, best structure. The other is like what actually makes for the best fights, right? Because I've heard some people say JoJo's has the best power system. JoJo's has a dumb power system. Let's be very clear. Stands is basically like, what if all the characters had really random abilities and there were no real rules as to what allows them to have these abilities or what the constraints are? The abilities can just be anything or whatever, right? That's what JoJo's is, right? But does that make for some fun fights? Yes, makes for some really fun fights. It's like if you just say no rules to what abilities people can have, it allows you to set up by far the greatest variety of situations and obstacles to overcome, right? When you try and play with some rules, then you can argue that there's more, structure and logic to it, and you can see fights playing out within a certain logical structure, and that in itself is really, really interesting. So it's like kind of that's what Nen is to a degree, and that's what you might prefer. Thomas Cass says, why did the anime make Hisoka seem like a pedo? Why did the anime make Hisoka seem like a pedo? Like in the manga, he's just this perfect, upright, upstanding gentleman who just happens to be obsessed with a small 10-year-old boy. Spends like 50% of his screen time thinking about him, thinking about ways that he can draw him into his into his clutches in the future. Yeah, the anime really fucked over Hisoka. God knows what a model citizen he was in the manga. What the fuck? All right. Aluha Nathan says Cursed Energy is a pretty good power system. I think Cursed Energy might be a good power system, but I think that like the way that it puts shit together, it's like a little too. It goes through the process of establishing things a little too fast, and that's not to say like it's on the reader for not being able to follow. I'm saying like generally what I think is good power system construction is like taking some time to introduce concept, establish concept, showcase concept, make sure that the reader fully understands how it works, and then like moving on to the next thing, etc. I don't think Jujutsu Kaisen does that. I think with the author has clearly thought out something that makes sense to him/her, and I think we're getting the feel for that as it goes along, and it's pretty good in many ways. But I think the manner in which it's being established in the story is maybe a little bit too much. A little bit too much like, you're building a railroad while putting the tracks on one right before you get to the next, the next stop, if that makes sense. Anime Dimension says One Punch Man except Saitama, very good power scale. We're not talking about power scale. We're talking about power system. All right? Nen, best power system. I think power scale and power system are very different things. Bob Dylan says pro/con, scattered plot. I would agree. Togashi follows whatever he's interested in. Double-Edged Sword gives us Chimera Ants, but also gives us Greed Island and Aluka. I like Greed Island. I didn't like Aluka, but I think Aluka would have been cool if introduced better. So I'm going to say, I see what you're saying. Great variety. And I think that is a strong point in that I think Hunter x Hunter tells the greatest variety of types of stories out of any of these series. Including JoJo's. But I would agree, Scatter, weaker overarching plot. I would agree that. Great variety. I mean great variety of individual arcs. What else we got? Oh, sorry. Miss Super says Phantom Greyfire from J. Moray. Hunter x Hunter often has poor roads versus great destinations. That's an interesting point. Cons, too much text/dialogue in most recent arcs is dynamic. I'm not putting that in cons. I like if I'm in the right mood to read some walls of text, then I'm totally down for that. I love the current Hunter x Hunter arc, and I agree that maybe a little too, maybe I think sometimes it's not okay. So you can separate it in two things, right? Is too much text a bad thing? I think in the context of the current Hunter x Hunter arc, no. I like that we're in a setting where you've got a lot of mysterious actors at the moment, all trying to figure out we're trying to figure out their motivations while they're also establishing their motivations, how they're thinking, what they're trying to figure out, etc. I'm okay within this context there being a lot of text. That being said, does he go too far sometimes? yes, sometimes it feels like you overdid it, and you never want to feel like that. But I personally, I love the current arc quite a bit, so I'm a big fan of it, pretty much everything that he's doing in the current arc. Awful Meta says, I can't remember any of the prince's names. Can't remember prince's names. I put that down because I realized we hadn't put down anything in a bit. Con is the art sometimes. The art sometimes. Let's get some pros in. What do we like about Hunter x Hunter? Let's get some pros in. Landon Cross says doesn't pay off setups. Aren't we all One Piece fans here? Phantom Greyfire says, super from Caleb Brown. I know this isn't a OP stream, but I really want to see Brook fight off Green Bull because Brook isn't alive and can't be sucked dry. Also, ice greater than plants. If you want to see Brook fight off Green Bull, I think he's going to have a few more issues than just like the plants versus ice/bones matchup. Virgil Hawkins says, pros the art sometimes. Look, I'll defend Hunter x Hunter's art as not being that bad, but I'm not that much of a dick writer that I'm going to be like, I'm going to fucking put its art in the pros section. Good Lord. No. I've always said this about Hunter x Hunter, which is like, it bothered me so much when like Togashi's on this long hiatus because he's like, I understand you're in physical pain. I understand he's in physical pain and everything like that. That makes it very difficult for him to sit up and draw. Just don't fucking draw. Like Togashi, like, I've said this before, but is he under the impression that we're all like salivating over the prospect of the next little, I don't know, clumsily sketched out doodle that he'll put out in the next chapter? Is he under the impression that we're all just so obsessed with him because we view him as like the Da Vinci of the modern era? What is he? Does he think that like we're just so enamored with his, line work and composition, and that's what makes Hunter x Hunter? Fuck no. Just write it and let somebody else draw it. Let anyone else draw it. I feel like if you took, like, I don't know, like if you pulled out of a hat some shonen manga authors that are in Jump right now, you could pull it out of a hat and just find somebody who could easily take up the task of drawing Hunter x Hunter for Togashi. Thomas Kaz says, people read 50 chapters of manga in a day and then complain about a few chapters with too many words. Also pro, subversion of shonen tropes. Nowadays, okay, you know what's funny about the word subversion? So for a long time, subversion was like what was used to describe Hunter x Hunter because people wanted a word to... I think sometimes buzzwords just catch on a lot in certain fandoms, right? I think with Hunter x Hunter, it's subversion. With One Piece, you've got foreshadowing and world building, right? I think fans tend to latch on to certain terms basically because they feel like that's something that they can clearly identify, that they know is, considered to have literary merit in some way, and they know that their series exemplifies that very well, so they latch onto it. But I think we've gone through the full cycle where Hunter x Hunter got made fun of for, fans obsessing over its subversion of tropes so much that now I feel weird writing subversion as a pro. So I'm going to say unique takes on traditional shonen storytelling. How about that? Miss Supers? All right, hold on. Anime Dimension says, just remembered World Trigger. Very, very good power system. If you didn't watch it, I recommend it. It was so good. I'm interested. Yeah, let Murata draw it. Murata will draw anything. Phantom Greyfire says, Super from Tala Jahan, Dragon Ball. That's it? Miss Super from CS. Have you read Three Gatsu no Lion? Did I pronounce that wrong? I feel like somebody brought this up before, and then people told me I pronounced that wrong. Pronouncing other words wrong. Greg Davram says, pro, the main villain isn't just beaten with a big punch. That is quite the pro. It's true. Apopa says, what unique takes? I think the simplest thing that you can put forward is basically the Chimera Ant. The direction that arc ends up is not something that you will see in any other, traditional shonen series. I think that's not something that's unfair to say. Imanor95 says, did you forget about your movie channel? I may go back to that at some point. It's more so managing time. If YouTube was all I did, I would be able to do the movie channel, but unfortunately it's not. Straight Banana says, put Killua is cool in prose. I don't think Killua is that cool. I initially loved Killua a lot while I was watching, but reading. But by the end of the Chimera Ant arc, I was like, I'm not a fan of this character. Hisoka, I'll put him down. Meruem, best character in the series in my opinion. Can put that stuff down. Hazard and Gibson says pro, great cast on non-main characters. Yeah, a lot of non-main characters are really great. Steven Perkena says pro, it has a low point in the story. All right, we're just taking shots at Wano at this point. Let's try and stay away from that. Let's try and keep it positive. You know what? We should let's do Naruto. Let's keep it positive. Let's see what we can say about Naruto. What if we did a Naruto list that's only pros? How would you guys feel about that? I feel like you guys would hate that. Yeah, Hisoka based. I'm curious, what's everyone's favorite Hunter x Hunter character? I'm just gonna do the main ones. Miss Super from Rujandaru. Oh fuck! What happened? What just happened? Miss Super from Rujandaru. Only Hunter x Hunter flaw is Togashi's wordiness at times. Yeah, we've been over that. Ninerbot says Hunter x Hunter also has a magic wish-granting lolly that fixes Gon's wounds and ruin all consequences from adult Gon. I'm starting to sense a pattern here. You're saying Aluka is the Shirky of this series? I can see that. Damn, that's a tight split. Karapi. Nah, I like Killua, but Karapi. I put it in the options that I have it at. But I have Hisoka 1, I have Killua 2, Kurapika 3, Gon 4. At least out of the main cast. Other characters I prefer are obvious. I like Meruem. I'm coming around to Jing. The Prince, Sindric. Seems like could pan out to something really interesting. Might have pronounced his name terribly. Yeah, okay. All right, what series do you want to do next? All right. Next series. I'm going to do JoJo's. Maybe I just want to do JoJo's. I don't know why I'll do Black Clover because, no, you guys are just going to shit on Black Clover. I'm not going to put Black Clover. And I won't even be able to defend it that hard because it's just not worth dying on that hill. Okay. Actually, first, you guys spam the next series. Do a villain poll, Morge, says Novum. Okay. How about I do a villain poll? Okay, let's do this. I don't know why it turned into this, but first I'm going to do best villain from Hunter x Hunter. And then we're going to segue that into comparing to other series, all right? I won't include One Piece because One Piece, I think we already did a poll. Okay. All right. Hold on. Let's keep our thoughts in order, right? So we're doing best villain poll first. Super from Tala Jahan. Ranked Dragon Ball 2 is what I meant to say. How about, okay, if that's what the people want, we'll see. Best villain from Hunter x Hunter. But so many of the villains are like, it's too hard to rate Hunter x Hunter villains. Too hard to rate Hunter, because like, so it's like, what do you want to say about Chrollo? What do you want to say about Meruem? Like, what do you want to say about like so many Hisoka? Like so many of these villains, you know, they don't play that role. Like Genthru is the villain that we had, but beyond that, it's hard to box these characters into that category, you know? Okay, hold on. Like Griffith, outright villain. Nothing much to say there. But I mean, obviously there's much more to his character, but we understand he's a villain at the end of the day, right? What am I supposed to say about some of these other guys, right, that I listed from Hunter x Hunter? Okay, so we got Chainsaw Man to be discussed, Kingdom, Haikyuu, Naruto, Full Metal, Bleach, Chainsaw Man, Bleach, Naruto, Bleach. I'm seeing multiple Bleaches, Kaguya, JoJo's, Fire Punch, JoJo, Chainsaw Man, Naruto, Bleach. I gotta do a big-ass poll. No time for these teeny-weeny polls. We need a big poll. We need a straw poll. All right, next series. All right, I'll put Naruto. I'll put Bleach, give respect to the big three. Put JoJo's, personal preference. Chainsaw Man, personal preference. Kingdom, because it'll be funny because I haven't read it. Kaguya, because I understand that you guys like it a lot. And I think was that the gist of it? What else were people saying? What else? Kanokari? I don't know what that is. I'll throw Dragon Ball in. Dragon Ball. All right. That's enough. Enough of this. This is the poll. All right. Now, straw polls for some reason in the past have had issues when I've tried posting them in streams. Spy Family? Not right now. I don't feel like it. Fire Punch? No, because I don't want people spoiling anything about that for me. Is the message pinned? All right. We have 20 seconds to vote. No. You guys take 30 seconds to vote. Take a bit of time to vote. All right. Gintama? Sorry, I didn't make the poll. The poll is set. Go vote in the poll. Stop spamming options. The poll is set. Go vote in the poll. Where is it? The poll is pinned. The poll is pinned. I'm going to be checking results pretty soon. Pretty soon. Pretty soon. Where's the pill, says Brandon King. Brandon, it's pinned. Where else is it going to be? Results not working? What do you mean results are not working? You're not working. There's nothing wrong with the results. Let's see. The results aren't working. What the fuck? What is this? No. God damn it. Isn't straw... What did I do wrong? I swear I did everything right. Let's try one more time. All right. Things I gotta do. Next series. I don't even remember all the other options. Naruto, Bleach, Jojo's. I think I kind of got that. Chainsaw Man was in there. Kingdom, Kaguya, Dragon Ball. I think that's the gist of it. All right, and we'll do a test this time. I'll vote. Results aren't... What is this? This is an outrage. It's unfair. All right. We got to do it Maybe YouTube's messing with it because it wants me to use its shitty poll version. Phantom Greyfire says, Morge, don't encourage chat to spam. Turn on slow mode. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I'll turn on slow mode. Give me a second. Just do Jojo. Screw the majority. Mayora13 says, you read Kaguya. Wow. No, but I'm told that most people in my Discord read Kaguya. So I feel like it'll be funny to do it. Blail Gore says, I got a question, Morge. Hopefully you can make a video about it. Why for so many shonen protagonists are not the favorite characters? Love from the DR. I think that one's pretty straightforward. I think pretty straightforward is just that I'm just going to do the polls first of all through here. All right. I'm going to do the poll right here in the YouTube chat. Then I'm going to go turn on slow mode and then everyone will be happy. All right. So poll here. I'll do it in batches. All right. So we'll do first batch, question mark. First group. All right. First group, Naruto, Bleach, what else we had? Jojo's, Kingdom. After that, I'll do between like Dragon Ball, whatever the other ones were. Dragon Ball, Kingdom, Chainsaw Man. No. Dragon Ball, Chainsaw Man, Kaguya, whatever the other ones were. This one's pretty tight. Guys, get your votes in. Because this one's pretty tight. The winner of this group will face the winner of the next group, and then that'll be the winner of the whole thing. All right? This one's pretty tight. I'll give it 20 seconds. In the meantime, let me discuss basically why do I think that most protagonists are not that popular. I think most protagonists are not that popular just because most people tend to gravitate towards characters, like in shonen, I think most people tend to gravitate towards characters that are inherently in some way sort of, you want characters that feel very, in their own way, like, how do I say, like, competent, as though they, how do I say this? People don't like characters that are bitches, all right? For the most part, okay? It's hard to get behind a character that's just a bitch for a good part of the series. And I think the way that most shonen protagonists are written are that they're kind of bitches for a good segment of the story, all right? So it's like, if I'm reading, I don't know, like, you know, Naruto, it's like, yeah, I could get behind Naruto, but like Kakashi's pretty cool, Minato's pretty cool, that Itachi guy's pretty cool, stuff like that. I think in general, there's a sharp correlation between how soon the main character kind of starts becoming very competent to how long it takes before, if you're reading like Deku, I can understand why a lot of people don't love Deku because he's not a particularly cool. This is at the most basic level. Not talking about how well written characters are. None of that. But I think generally people like the characters that are, a little cooler, a little flashier, stuff like that. Like Mihawk can show up for one chapter, like Ace could show up for one chapter of One Piece and already is rocketing up the polls. I think Luffy in general never really surrenders that number one spot because it's like Oda makes it fucking hard for Luffy to surrender that number one spot. Luffy wins. He is the hero of every single arc from day one. He will take down the strongest bad guy in every arc from day one. Oda makes sure that it is very, very difficult for a majority of readers to prefer anyone other than Luffy because the spotlight is so heavily, heavily focused on him, right? I think generally, like, you can look through a lot of series, and I think that there's a strong correlation between how dominant or how important the main character, like, how successful the main character is arc to arc, and, like, how much they kind of carry the show. I think there's a strong correlation between that in terms of, like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Ichigo tended to win pretty much all popularity polls because Ichigo, very much like Luffy, tends to beat all the bad guys at the end of the arc, etc. Characters like Naruto, not necessarily the same. Deku, not necessarily the same. Things like that. You know what I mean? Like, lots of times the main characters are being shown up by other characters. Then when you have series like a Luffy or a Goku, who is very rarely, if ever, shown up by another character, at least another protagonist, arc to arc, then naturally that's just going to garner more, whatever. Where are we at? The poll has still Bleach and JoJo's neck and neck. Let me see. This is at the most basic level. You're talking about, like, pure large-scale overall popularity. I think it's generally just, like, not about who's a better written character or anything like that. I'm saying, like, if you ask the general fan base, I think series like a Dragon Ball or like a One Piece, where you have Goku and Luffy as clearly the undisputed best good guy by the end of each arc, clearly basically the hero who saves the day at the end of each arc, they're going to more consistently land the number one spot than other characters. Even in a series like Fairy Tail or something like that, you probably don't have Natsu winning every popularity poll because Natsu is regularly shown up by other good guy characters around him. He usually ends up beating the bad guy through some, like, PIS, plot-induced stupidity or whatever, but, like, that's not quite the same as, like, Luffy, who's, like, at the end of every arc, he's the guy that's the strongest good guy that's having to go out and take down the bad guy. No one else on the Straw Hat Pirates is ever going to show up Luffy. Same thing with Goku. Nobody else in Goku's squad is ever going to show up Goku. That's the key to having the most popular, having your main character be the most popular. Like, poor Gon. I think Gon's never the most popular, not just because of, not just because of the way he's written. I personally don't like Gon as a character, but I don't think it's because of the way he's written. I think it's just because you look at Gon, Killua shows him up all the time. You look at Gon, like, there's just other, Kurapika, Killua, like, there's other characters that are just more impressive than him, arc to arc, that are protagonists or in that role, sort of, right? Let's see, Naruto. Oh, wait. Who wins? Let's just throw in Naruto, JoJo's, and get in those other guys. Let's get in Kingdom. Let's get in Kaguya. I was supposed to throw in Dragon Ball. I forgot about that. I'll throw that in after. Miss Super from Straight Banana. Why not? Why not what? What is it? Why can't I see it? Why not One Punch Man? One Punch Man's too hard to rate because it's like, on one hand, it's a gag series. On the other hand, it's like, it doesn't act like a gag series. Okay, Naruto wins. All right, we're doing Naruto. Wait, how did it even up so quickly? All right, get your votes in the next 20 seconds. I forgot Chainsaw Man? Fuck. All right. Why is this so tight? Just pick one. Why are you guys so indecisive? It's so neck and neck. I don't want to do like a... Okay, we'll do... Fuck. All right, I'm going to count down from 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we're doing JoJo's. All right. It was a hard-fought battle. We're doing JoJo's. Good news, we'll probably do Naruto next, so don't even worry about it. All right, let me do my Photoshop magic. All right. And we're not doing like JoJo's parts or anything. This is just the general concept of the series, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So you got the best of JoJo's and the worst of JoJo's. We all know that the worst of JoJo's, it's it's almost not worth talking about. But the best of JoJo's is very much worth talking about. So this is an interesting one. Because I feel like you could list the cons list really, really long. I feel like you could list the pros list. It's just an interesting one. All right. And we're back. Look at what I made for you guys. All right. Let's do it. JoJo's. Pros. All right, let's do it. Wait, I need the chat. All right. Okay, people. Hold on. So people really voted a bunch for JoJo's just to start shitting on it right away. All right. Okay. Let's try and track this a little bit, because everyone just wants to say what their favorite part is. Part 8 is my favorite. Part 2 and 7 is the best. Pro, all of Part 7. Part 1 is okay, and Part 2 is better. This isn't... Do you guys think that I made this list to rate the JoJo's parts? No, we're talking about all of it. All of it all together. Phantom Greyfire, thanks. Miss Super from Caleb Brown. If Murata drew Hunter x Hunter, it would take over the world. I agree. Like, let's be real. One Punch Man... It would be nowhere near as popular if it wasn't for Murata, right? Nowhere near. Like, the webcomic, it would still have its little niche cult thing going for it, but it wouldn't be like a, worldwide phenomenon or whatever. Guys, everyone's so confused. So people think that this is a stream about ranking which JoJo's part is the best. No. Kasuna Kozumi says Part 2 greater than all the trash. Josuke from Part 4 the best JoJo. Are my words not getting through to anybody? Stop listing your favorite parts. Enough of this. What is this? Pro. Okay, Straight Banana says pro, funny and charming characters. That's a pro. That's more like it. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to list pros and cons. All right. Funny / charming characters. Haha. You might even say bizarre characters. JoJo's pro, art and style are super unique. Yeah, I think that's a huge pro. Probably most unique art style of any manga. I would make that argument. I'm gonna put that there because that's me. That's my opinion. Bard Main says 5 out of 10. That would probably go under con. Pro, well-written fights, tense with crazy tactics employed. Yeah, for some of them. I think, okay, we could do this. Can we do this for JoJo's? Great fights, cons. Dumb as shit fights. Because, look, let's be real. It's got the full spectrum. You cannot sit there and tell me that JoJo's has consistently great, well-written, tense fights. You cannot tell me that. I don't care which part you're pointing at. You cannot tell me that it has consistently great, well-written, smart fights. It has... Every JoJo stand battle is great because every stand battle always has the potential. When you're starting a new stand battle, you never know what you're getting into. Every stand battle has the potential to be something insane, super hype, super tense, super suspenseful, and with some crazy twists and a great ending. Every stand battle has that potential, and some of them deliver. A lot of the really good ones, like Darby, come on. I think Darby is the one that's always my go-to as the classic. Darby number 1, not number 2. Darby number 1, that's always my go-to as the classic example of basically how great JoJo's fights can be, right? Caleb Brown says it's hard because each part is like a different anime. they all feel distinctly very similar. I'd say the jump between 6 to 7 is obviously where it feels the most distinctly different, but even then it still feels relatively. I wouldn't say it's like I would argue that honestly Hunter x Hunter you can jump from like jumping from arc to arc, and Hunter x Hunter feels more different sometimes than even JoJo's parts between part to part. But continuing on, fights. Yeah, like some of the fights 10 out of 10, great. But let's be real here. There's no part in JoJo's that has consistently good fights. Some of the fights, come on, they're dumb doesn't even begin to describe them. It's kind of like, who the fuck wrote this? What mental patient, what asylum did you go to? Which inmate did you give a pen and paper to come up with this fight? Because some of the shit, come on, we all know, right? Phantom Greyfire says, Miss Super from Power Vision. What's up, Power Vision? The OP world is the Okutsuki. The OP world is the Otsutsuki from Naruto. The chakra fruits are literally devil fruits. Think about it. Sun God Nika is all white. So are the Otsuki. Imu gonna be white like Kaguya lol. I got a bunch of fun ideas. All right. It sounds like that's some shit that's gonna go on your channel. I have nothing to respond to about it here, but I'm sure that you got a theory video in the works along those lines. And that is interesting. I've heard some ideas that, like, you know, obviously with the moon and everything like that, there might be some accidentally really strong similarities between some of the origins of the One Piece world and certain characters, maybe even devil fruits similar to Naruto. But look, Ninerbot says no actual plot except part 2, just bad guy of the week. No, I'm with you on that. I would argue that, you know, the plot definitely. I just don't agree that part 2 is the one that's the exception to the rule. I'm kind of like, either you say all of them have really, really loose stories. I think we can say loose story structure, and that applies to literally all of them. I don't think part 2 is some exception to this rule. Part 2, okay, no, I could agree that part 2, it actually does follow a proper story structure much better than the others, and it's not quite as much bad guy of the week. Okay, you're right on that. If I think on it a little, part 2 probably does. Honestly, even part 1 then kind of in that case, but maybe part 2. But I'm okay with that because it's not trying to follow traditional narrative structure, and I think it succeeds mostly for what it is. And like you can look at certain, I think part 7 accidentally has good story structure, basically. Like he finds the clear point where there is clearly identifiable, like, this is the midpoint, this is blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just, I don't think it was as intentional. I think it kind of naturally, organically developed as he did it, and he ran with it. Miss Super from Tala Jahan, Goku gets shown up for a half of Z by his son. Yeah, but it quickly reverts back. Like, that's one arc. That's one storyline, right? Over the entirety of Dragon Ball, it's mainly Goku. And, like, that's, by the way, Goku gets shown up by Gohan, right? Yeah, I would fucking bet that for a brief period of time, Gohan probably became more popular than Goku because Gohan should, like, I think that fits into what I'm saying. I would bet that if if Dragon Ball continued from them and Gohan just became the main character and Gohan won, you know, the big battles at the end of every arc, I bet Gohan would start being number 1 on popularity polls. But reality is that everything since outside of the Cell arc, everything else in Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Super, it's all Goku, which is why naturally he's going to be the most popular protagonist, most popular character. But yeah. All right. Jacob Patino says, okay, but villain of the week isn't necessarily a con. Yeah, it's kind of like you can't lose story structure. Like, it's what it's trying to be, right? Like, I'm not going to go criticize, like I think Avatar The Last Airbender. Obviously, that's very episodic, loose story structure. Very, very close to villain of the week with some overarching plot, right? I think it's a looser story structure than JoJo's, but you can still say it's a good series for what it is. I'm actually inclined to take this off of this because I think that that's not a fair thing to... No, but sometimes it's tricky. Actually, because it does definitely hurt the series in some ways that it doesn't hurt Avatar. So I'm going to put it back. Martel Gomez says pro stand variety. Yep. Say that. Battle varieties. Battle variety. Durham says pro high stakes characters actually die. I would agree, except it's kind of like, it's so hard. Like, some JoJo's character deaths, because so much less time is put into, you know, it is very much fight to fight, right? So I'm gonna leave, let's say, part 7 out of this. All right, I'm gonna leave part 7 out of this. I was never close to really feeling emotionally moved at any JoJo's death in any of the initial 6 parts at all. Because most of the characters feel dispensable because most of the characters are not truly that fleshed out for most of the first 6 parts, right? So they feel dispensable. So yeah, characters will die and stuff, but it's kind of like, you know, like if certain characters die in, let's say, I don't even want to spoil, but come on now. Like, you know the character that dies towards the end of part 3, right? Like, you know the character that died, like, there's certain character deaths that they just happen and you don't really care. It's kind of like, okay, this guy's gone now. Like, he was fun and entertaining while he was there, but that's about it for the most part. You know? I will say part 5. Yeah, I'll give you the one that you mentioned for part 5. I'm not going to say it out loud. Phantom Greyfire says, Miss Super from Remy Fasola, do some seinen like Gantz and Berserk. We just did Berserk, actually. I'd throw Gantz in, but I think it's not popular enough to talk about. Miss Super from Tony America, Kaneki in Tokyo Ghoul is my number 1 in his series. Have you read? I have watched the first part of Tokyo Ghoul. Extremely underwhelmed. I'm told that it has a bad anime and that the manga is better, but I think so maybe the manga I would have a totally different experience reading it, but watching the anime I was just like, the whole premise of this, it's just so much more boring than, like, it's just such a tired genre to be following. Tired premise to be following, I guess. It's just you swap goals for so many different things in different series, and it's pretty much the same thing. So I'm sure that the manga does it way better. I'm sure I'm biased because of my anime experience, but I didn't like Tokyo Ghoul. Anyway, yeah, I think JoJo's is just very difficult to rate because, like, it's on so many, like, on one hand, funny and charming characters, yes, but on the other, you could say so many different things, right? Funny and charming characters on the one hand, right? For most of it, right? At the same time, it's hard for me to feel emotionally attached to many of these characters because the author is more focused on, like, getting them into fights, focusing really on the strategy and events of the fights, not quite as much on characterization, developing a strong emotional attachment to any of these characters as much. When he does try, like, it's sometimes hit or miss. So I can love some of the characters, but also not really care when they just randomly are executed, right? Most unique style of any manga. I think there's not much to say there. I love JoJo's art style. Great fights, but then again, yeah, dumb as shit fights. Like, come on now. Like, sometimes it's just like, on the one hand, you've got, like, the Darby fight, which I referenced, but on the other hand, like, we all know, like, there's certain JoJo fights where it's just like, the stand abilities are so random that it's hard to even, truly get it. It'll be some shit like, my stand ability is, if you eat a paperclip, then I'm able to, like, control your left arm or something like that. Something totally random. And then it'll be like, fuck, Jotaro, for breakfast this morning, we ate 5 paperclips. And then beads of sweat roll down Jotaro's face. And he's just like, haha, I have control over your left arms or some shit. And then the rest of their fight is like, I don't know, they'll solve it with some really weird solution. Like, this is when a JoJo's is at its worst. Like, this, when, like, Araki gets himself into, like, this weird fight scenario where, like, you're not even sure if he really figured out the solution that well because the solution almost doesn't make sense. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's just sometimes, like, the fights are really, really hit or miss for me in JoJo's, but, like, when they're good, they're really good, right? Also offers great variety in that sense. Like, you can never say that the variety's, you know, not there. But variety's not variety means that you run the whole spectrum from, like, genius to idiotic. Tala John says, for JoJo's, most cons are also pros and vice versa. Yeah, and that's why it's such a, like, lovable series, endearing series, honestly, because it's like, almost everything you don't like about the series, you can almost laugh off and be like, it's not a big deal or whatever. I think it's treading new ground with parts 7 and 8, where it actually is trying to incorporate more serious elements of writing and trying to go for more serious dramatic arcs and, like, more the way it's trying to handle characters and the directions their stories go, I think it's no longer, you can no longer sort of just wave away certain aspects of writing that you could for previous JoJo's arcs. And that's why I think Steel Ball Run is, for the most part, really strong in some elements and then falls short in a lot of other elements. But again, really, really strong in some elements. Really, really, like, in a very unique way that's unique to JoJo's, right? Very strong. That's why so many people put it on such a pedestal. I think flip side, JoJolion, it's a great example of, like, when, like, I think a lot of the problems that come out from, it was, I think, the perfect crash of his older writing style elements that he was able to get away with in parts 1 through 6, unfortunately rearing their head in an arc that, just by the nature of the premise of that arc and the type of plot that he was constructing, it had to be the most tightly written, cleanly executed, and logically thought out from start to finish arc in the entire series. And it clearly wasn't that. Rather, it was a lot of the same things that were present in his earlier writing days, colliding with a storyline that really, really, really could not, like, it just didn't have, it should not and does not have room for that style of writing, basically, if you want to tell a story like that, right? And then I think a lot of it was trying to fall back on a lot of what happened to make Steel Ball Run work, which doesn't work when it's shoved in so late in the game. Grizzly Adams says, JoJo Pro, filthy axe at a reasonable price. We could talk about individual battles and stands all we want, but that's a nice little way of trying to not spoil, but at the same time spoiling. The people who know. All right. Mayora13 says, pros, great villains. Does JoJo's have great villains? Aside from a certain part 7 villain, who I do think is one of my favorite villains in manga, does it really have great villains? Is Dio a great villain, or is he just such a memeable villain that he turned into a great villain? Is Dio a great villain? Yes. No. Let's say Dio from the original universe. Not part 7 and on Dio. Insatiable Hunger says, Khan, JoJo scraps Hamon. Power system, while One Piece keeps Devil Fruit system along with Haki 6 powers. I guess so, but I prefer JoJo's battles, I guess, in general. Well, I prefer One Piece battles for emotion and drama, which I think they execute better when set up properly than JoJo's. But at the same time, I think I prefer, like, stands are stupid, but stands are fun. So I'll take that. Daniel Murray says, pro, colored cover art, color creativity. Agreed. I think JoJo's is the most creative colors. Is Dio a great villain? All right, I guess Dio's a great villain. All right, let's do Naruto. On to the next one. All right, this is the controversial one. The longtime enemy of One Piece fans, Naruto. Long-running rivalry. It's one of those rivalries that I think you could say, you know, Naruto, their fan base won a lot of the initial early battles, but the One Piece fans won the war. You know what I mean? Because for the longest time, sure, anime and manga, not super mainstream. But if you told someone you're a Naruto fan, at least people know what the fuck you're talking about. With One Piece, if you tell someone I'm a One Piece fan, actually back in the day, if you told someone you're a One Piece fan, it's almost a bonus. Because back in the day, this was before anime and manga got popular. If you told someone you're a One Piece fan, like, a lot of people wouldn't even know that's an anime. So you actually got a little bit of a pass right there, right? You actually get a little bit of a freebie, because it's like you just told someone you're a huge anime fan and they don't even know. You actually just told them that you're a huge nerd about something, and they have no idea. So I guess in that sense, it was better to be a One Piece fan back then, because, like, you know, anime still wasn't cool, but at least if you told people that you're a huge nerd about anime, nobody would even know that you are. So in that sense, I guess it was better to be a One Piece fan. But beyond that, for the most part, you know, if you told someone you're a One Piece fan, they wouldn't know what the fuck you're talking about. And the weird thing is, even now, what I've experienced is that I can tell people that, you know, I'm into One Piece. I actually do One Piece YouTube videos and stuff. And I still meet lots of people who have no idea what the hell One Piece is. People from, like, our age group. Like, not like people, like, not like boomers even. I'm saying, like, Some millennials, Gen Zers, like, they don't even know what One Piece is. It's less common now. Now, very often, if I tell people, like, oh, I'm into One Piece, they'll know what it is. But, like, you know, I guarantee if I told somebody, oh, yeah, I'm into Naruto or something, then today, pretty much anybody would know what that is, right? So I think for a long time, you know, One Piece and Naruto, we were at odds just because, you know, big three stuff, right? Naruto way more popular in the West. Just similar types of protagonists, sort of, in a sense, right? Like, there's just soft similarities between the series that really put them at odds with each other. Similar chapter lengths for a long period of time. And, like, Naruto is way more popular in the West. People know what the fuck Naruto is. People don't know what One Piece is. So I think it always kind of rubbed One Piece fans the wrong way. Luckily, I was young and not as involved in, like, internet forum discussions and stuff at this point in time. So I was never too embroiled in, like, Naruto hatred or anything like that. I was able to catch up to Naruto and watch it on my own time as a youngin' and enjoy it for what it was. Ninebot says, are we going to do Gash Bell? Probably the only series that matches One Piece in motion. It's also you're probably the only one that's seen that series. So I think no, just for the sake of viewers staying around. I think I watched that series coming on Toonami, right? And it always looked interesting to me, but I think it would come on too late for me to watch it. So I never got around to checking out Gash Bell. But I believe you when you say it's a good series. It's just, I don't know if enough people watch that series for it to be appealing here. The One True Edgelord says, Naruto War greater than One Piece Wano. I personally agree with that. For me personally. Phantom Greyfire says, we're finally doing Boruto's dad. Yeah, let's put that in cons. No, actually, let's put that in pros right away. Pros. I think this one's easy. Boruto. Easy, pro. Cons. We'll figure those out as we go. Alfred Letts says, bro, how is Boruto a con? It's a different series. Well, it's not in cons, is it? Chin Ho Wong says, pros, great villains. Is that true? I don't know if that's true. Do I have to say Obito's a great villain? You remember when Madara was a villain for a minute and then we found out that... I don't mind spoiling Naruto. That's one series I don't mind spoiling at all. Because if you're not caught up on Naruto at this point, you're just not going to catch up. Like, come on now. Do I have to say Obito is a great villain? Do I have to say the Ten-Tailed Beast is a great villain? Do I have to say Madara could have been a great villain and then Kaguya showed up? Do I have to say Kaguya is a great villain? Do I have to say Sasuke is a great villain? Who's a great villain? I'm putting villains under cons. Villains. I think that's easy. Fiery White Boy says con, hella filler. No, I will always give... Okay. Did filler right. I will always argue that Naruto's filler is 1,000,000 times better than One Piece filler. The fact that people still can't see this, it's so simple to understand. It's so absurdly easy to understand. This shouldn't be controversial at all. The way One Piece does filler is genuinely the worst way you could do filler in any series, which is it makes the filler unavoidable. It makes the filler embedded into the show's actual content. You cannot watch cool scenes in One Piece nowadays without having those scenes ruined by 2 minutes of straight reaction shots, fodder making weird noises and cut out like frozen stills of their, lifeless bodies just hanging around for no reason. You can't get through a full One Piece episode without 10 recaps on things that we already know. Fuck, things that could have happened earlier in the episode. They'll recap that shit. Hey, in case you missed the first 5 minutes of this episode, let's replay Luffy punching Kaido for the first time or something like that. In case for some reason you were getting a snack or something like that. I don't get it. One Piece filler, the way they do it is so terribly, terribly bad. And like they'll even get to a point where they're just like, fuck, if like heaven forbid there's no fodder around to give reaction shots. Because when there's no fodder around to give reaction shots, then the animators, they have to really roll up their sleeves and be like, okay, let's just slow the whole scene down. If we can't fill it with like more shitty content, let's just take the content that's there and just make it slower. You know, like if Kid's gonna punch Apu, well, I mean, he could slam him against the wall in one fluid motion like a normal person, or we could show that he's angry about it for like 50 seconds. So just, you know, show his face and him like gritting his teeth. He's got to grit his teeth for a while. Apu's not going to move. Don't fucking worry about that. He's going to stand still right there. Then Kid's going to take another 45 seconds to get his metal together. Apu, by the way, at this point has no idea what the hell's coming. He's just like, I'm good. I'm chilling. I don't know what Kid's putting together there. Certainly not something that will harm me. And then spend 2 minutes to have Kid actually hit Apu against the wall. And like that's how One Piece generally does its filler. It does it the worst way possible. Naruto's filler is perfectly fine. Naruto's filler is literally just like it treats it's like, yeah, this episode shit and that episode shit and the following episode shit and the following episode after that is shit. Guess what you can do? Don't watch those fucking episodes. Just skip the episodes. It's nice and convenient. You don't have to watch those episodes. It basically turns Naruto, like the way Naruto did filler, basically turned it into a seasonal anime. That's what people don't get. It's so simple. Just imagine Naruto's not a weekly anime. Imagine it's a seasonal anime. Imagine it's a seasonal anime. Imagine basically, okay, you're going to get some weeks of episodes, then it's going to go on break for a while. In fact, during that break, you could tune in and catch some shitty filler stuff if you wanted to, but if you don't want to, fucking skip it. It's on break. It's on break and it'll pick back up when the season starts again. And then you'll get like a month of episodes or something. And then it's going to go back on break. And then you can skip it again. It's so much better for viewing. It's like not even close. So it did filler right. It did filler a million times better than One Piece. All right. Sorry. Long rant over, but it actually pisses me off so... I'm like, you stupid One Piece fan. If I ever see a One Piece fan making fun of Naruto for filler, I'm like, do you know how bad you have it right now? Do you have any idea how bad you have it right now? Do you have any idea how much better it would be if we would love to have filler like Naruto. We would be lucky to have filler like Naruto. If we had filler like Naruto, I would watch the anime. I would watch the One Piece anime. If like, if all I had to do was not watch the show for a few weeks while they got the filler out of the way, and then I watched a fucking well-paced show, I would fucking watch the anime. That sounds like a very reasonable deal to me. All right. Sorry, long rant over, but Naruto's filler is great. I don't want to hear a thing about it. Charcy Scorpio, thanks, appreciate it. Tingu96 says pro part 1, con part 2, post pain. I could put, let me just put that down. Everything till pain. Things after pain. Yassini Tabi says Obito is a great villain and he is misunderstood. All right. I don't think he's misunderstood. I think everybody understands him. I think everybody's just so underwhelmed by what he, like, I never liked the argument that, like, this character's really, like, you just don't understand. Like, you can understand something and still think it's dumb. You know what I mean? Like, you can understand something and still think it's dumb. I think that's where I'm at with Obito, personally. Maybe I don't fully understand it, but I also don't think it's that complicated. Miss Super from Ninerbot says, the way Kishi writes in retcons is amazing and actually makes sense. Oda needs to take notes. I'm not going to knock Oda for that necessarily. I don't know. I think Oda's got a more complex story he's working with, so, like, I think it's innately harder, and I don't think that Kishimoto does retcons better than Oda. I think Oda is arguably very smooth at doing, like, things that he hasn't necessarily planned, connecting them back to feel organic. So I think that the times that it doesn't feel that right or organic, it can feel like a little bit off. Does that make sense? Because I think he does a good job of making everything at least feel connected and planned. That I think that, like, it does make times where he's kind of, like, something logically doesn't make something with sense with something from the past. I think it makes those times stand out a little bit more. That's my take on it, but that's, I'm also a One Piece YouTuber. I'm hard biased in that sense. But I generally think that Oda's pretty good at, like planning out a long running story for the most part. I wonder if we'd be having this conversation before Wano or not. Jinho Wong says best filler is Hunter x Hunter. I mean, there's seasonal anime and stuff, and it's not fair to compare to those, I think. Daniel Murray says Khan's side characters are useless and wasted in the story. Yeah, we could throw that in and say side characters. Do we have a pro for Naruto? Can we get a pro for Naruto? Because right now all we have is... Okay, no, I said everything till pain. That's pretty broad sweeping, right? Did I make it clear that this is like till like... Yeah, everything till pain. That includes pain. Everybody gets that, right? Phantom Greyfire says, Parvision wanted to know about a break month collab. Say yes, please, and follow him on Twitter. I will follow him on Twitter. Probably not going to do a collab. I am going to be doing my own thing for this month at the very least for a while. But I might do a collab down the road. This month is just very between balancing the channel and everything else. I'm trying to I'm doing the Reverie because it's the Reverie, but that's just because like Jay's hosting it, so I don't want to let fights. Yeah, let me throw in fights. Fights. Akatsuki was cool. I said pro part 1 is amazing. I mean, I said everything till pain. Sasuke versus Itachi. I just put fights. Caleb Brown says pro the Naruto run. I think we could put that down. Here's a question I also have, which is like looking at what we got in pros. I personally feel like Boruto suffers from the Morbius effect, which is that I put it down there because I thought it's funny. At the same time, I've never seen Boruto, and I feel like most people haven't seen Boruto. I feel like I don't know if people actually watch Boruto. You know what I mean? Like, who's actually seen this? Who has seen this and can report back to us that Boruto is good, bad, even still running? I mean, I assume it's still running, right? I hear people still talk about it, but, I think it's just got the Morbius effect, where it's just like, it's funny to make fun of because it exists. And like, everybody's kind of seen little glimpses of it, so you got a general idea. Like, you saw a trailer, teaser here or there. Like, I think the moment we saw Boruto's character design, it was pretty much over for Boruto, right? Like, in terms of fan perception of that series, like the larger anime fan base, in general, that perception of the series, it was pretty much over once we saw what the character designs for Boruto were, right? Because it's harder to draw something that can be more made fun of than how Boruto was actually first designed, It's like the stereotypical, it's like the ultimate stereotype of what you would expect of like a cash grab spin-off sequel to a series that really didn't need a sequel, which is just like the title Boruto, the design. That's pretty much it. It was like it nailed itself in the coffin with those two things right away. It like put itself in the coffin, slammed the door shut, and somehow nailed itself in from the inside. Talha Jahan says pro. Sasuke leads certain arcs where Naruto's not even there. Like or dislike him, it's nice to see a deuteragonist get so much attention and work. I kind of agree. I hated Sasuke, so I'm not going to put it in the pros, but I agree with you in, general concept. See, Juan Carlos says Boruto trash. Do we actually know that? Can anyone confirm for a fact? Has anyone seen or watched like 50 episodes of Boruto that we can all agree that like it's not good? Or is it just like, nah, no, but we don't really need to check, I think we can make a fairly safe bet that it's not good. Ninerbot says pro, battle system and world. Yeah, I think the world's not good. I think the battle system, we got fights in there. I've got I'm trying to keep my stuff out of here, which is like, my random biases, which is like, I just don't like Sasuke. And it's not like, oh, I didn't like Sasuke because of the direction his character headed and stuff. I just didn't like Sasuke from day one. He just seemed like, he just annoyed me from day one. So I don't have a lot to say there. This was back when Sasuke was quote unquote like cool. Like he was the coolest kid in school, which is also like I love how the way that I love the way anime and manga portrayed the cool kids in school. Because the cool kid, it's like this. Maybe Japan's got it totally different. Totally different. But like in anime and manga, it's like the coolest kid in school is always it's always the quiet, brooding kid in like the far back of the class, like the quiet, brooding kid. Granted, they're a genius in some aspect or whatever, right? But it's just like the kid that garners the most respect or attention. It's just the kid that would be in normal school bullied and picked on. Like in real life, I think this is why like trench coat fashion is a thing and stuff like that among, certain groups of kids and stuff like that. Like I think there's like, if you consume a certain form of media, it'll trick you into thinking that like being quiet, brooding, unapproachable, and mysterious is like the key to popularity. But in real life, you're just the weirdo that sits in the back of the class. Nobody pays attention to people that like in a positive light that don't do anything to make themselves likable. You know what I mean? Caleb Brown says, I'm caught up and I can confirm mid. All right, Caleb Brown has confirmed it for all of us. All right, I think that's all the confirmation that we really needed. Tyler Reed says the cool kid is somehow the school shooter. Yeah, exactly. Like if Sasuke went to real kid school, he would be on some sort of a watch list. Guaranteed. And like if you asked him like, hey, what's your biggest goal in life, kid? He's like, to kill my brother. Yeah, fucking yeah. School shooter, watch list, the whole works. Flynn Rider says pros Itachi. I don't like Itachi as a character. I could never get behind what he did because it just doesn't. I think Itachi defenders are the weirdest people in the world. That's my opinion. But we're getting a bit too into, I guess, your personal take on right and wrong or I don't want to get into an Itachi debate. I feel like I can't defeat the Itachi squad. The Itachi squad is too strong. Itachi squad is like trying to fight, I don't know. It's like trying to fight the Zoro squad in One Piece or something like that. It's just, they're too strong. There are too many of them. And they all believe that murdering your family is the right thing to do in certain situations. No, not just murdering your family. Let's not forget the aunts and uncles and, your family friends. Just, generally your entire neighborhood plus, give or take a few blocks or whatever. They think that's all okay so long as certain criteria is met. I don't really know what to say about Jim Tano says Itachi sucks. Yeah, he does suck. It's not even like Itachi was wrong. Like Mario 13 says Itachi was wrong. It's not even like he was wrong. It's just like it's not even like it's like just treated as though it was definitely the right thing. Like I don't know. Daniel Burr says Itachi's a good character, not a good person. I'm going to try and not get too into it just because Sebastian Pecknick says Itachi admitted he was wrong. So for example, I'm probably not the best person to talk to about this because I don't remember that scene because I'm not that big into Naruto. And for me, the memories of Naruto, I didn't read every chapter in the Final War. I would tune in week to week, some weeks skip, some weeks not or whatever. But I'm not a huge Naruto fan. So I'm not like the best person to talk to about this. So for me, it's just like, here are the general things that I remember, basically. And from the general things that I remember, I'm like, Itachi, yeah, that guy that sucks. But it's not a thing where, like, I'm going to die on that hill because I didn't know that there was a scene where he's admitted he was wrong. I didn't know that. So it's really not a thing that I want to necessarily dig my own grave over or anything like that. I might just be wrong on that one. I don't know. I don't think I'm wrong on Obito. I don't think that I need to reread that much to remember about Obito, but, we'll see. Okay. So I think we're pretty good on the... We could do one more... Okay. Stream's gone a little bit long, but I'd be down to do one more. I'd do one more. It's just that like okay, let's do one more. One more. If we get a clear consensus on this one, all right? Clear consensus on this one. All right? Last one. I'll put Dragon Ball. I'll put Kingdom. What else? I'll put Chainsaw. And I'll put, what's the last one that everybody wanted? Was there one more everyone wanted? What else was getting votes? I don't even remember what else was getting votes. Dragon Ball, Kingdom, Chainsaw Man. I'll put Kaguya because it's funny. Let's get one more in there. If something needs to have strong votes. I put Dragon Ball. I put Black Clover. No, I didn't put Black Clover. What am I talking about? Oh, Chainsaw Man got high votes. Oh, dope. Yeah, I'll do Chainsaw Man. I'll do Chainsaw. I didn't expect Chainsaw Man to win, but I'll do Chainsaw Man. Just because I'm a big Chainsaw Man fan. I'm excited. I'll tell you guys right now. I promise right now. I'm definitely doing a Chainsaw Man video. Guaranteed. How Jr., like before Chainsaw Man comes out, or roughly around the time it comes out, which is July, I think 17th, I'll do a Chainsaw Man video. How Jr. says, Itachi is like if Oda tried to convince us that what Akainu did to Ohara was the right choice. Plus, Borge watch everything everywhere all at once. I don't think what Itachi did was necessarily that extreme, but I could see like that angle of it. Oda obviously aimed to make the Ohara scholars more sympathetic to us. Whereas I think with the Uchiha clan, there was a more direct argument for like, if they do this, then that will be bad. Versus with the Ohara scholars, it was more like, it's just like they just want knowledge, which the world government is making a huge leap to declare that would therefore be punishable by execution, right? Even though just because there's the potential for something bad, right? So with Ohara, it was like potential for something maybe bad just by unearthing this knowledge, whereas with Naruto, it was like a more direct sort of, if this is not done, then Uchiha clan and the rest of the village go to war or something along those lines. Memory's a little hazy. And Everything Everywhere All at Once, I'll probably catch it at some point. Pina says, no point in doing Chainsaw Man because it has no flaws, 100. But I just want to make myself big. Hello? All right. All right. Let's get a picture up in here. You know what's crazy is that like when Chainsaw Man was first coming out, I was just like, this seems like the dumbest series ever. Because if you look at, I'm going to paste the image now, right? Like the image for it just seems dumb. Like it just seems like a really, I don't even want to say generic, I guess. It just seems dumb, right? Like there's no way that the image doesn't scream dumb when you first look at it. Right? Like, look at this. Look at this. Not this. Look at this. It's just like, what is this? It just seems dumb. It's just like a dude with a... It's literally just... It's Chainsaw Man, and it's just a dude with a chainsaw for a head and chainsaws for arms. It just seems like something like a dumb 14-year-old teenager with, like, black makeup and everything like that came up with. I don't know. It's just some, like... Yeah, just some dumb action comic is basically what it looks like. So I avoided reading it for a long time until like people started posting images of it on like literally it's thanks to being spoiled on Twitter, not advocating spoiling things, but it's just because like people were starting to gas it up so much and post certain spoiler images on Twitter that were so cool that I was just like, whoa, this does not look like at all what I would expect from this series. Because, you know, there's certain scenes and panels from Chainsaw Man that just like, they'll make you do a double take and catch your eye even if you're just scrolling. You're like, whoa, what the hell is this? And, I don't know. I think Chainsaw Man's just it's almost unfortunate that the way it pitches and promotes itself is so different from what the series is actually about and the vibe that it's actually about, which is like the total polar opposite of a generic gory action just action manga or something like that. It really, really betrays the truth of what the series potential is. Ninerbot says, Con, Denji feels like a side character in his own series, has no real motivation, just pushed by plot to do things. I don't think Denji is the best character, but I think that the Denji scenes that we get, particularly towards the end of the series, right? Let's say before his final battle and everything like that. I think we do get a very consistent running motivation for Denji, and I think that I actually appreciate the fact that, especially his final speech about his motivations before the final battle and everything like that. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. This is pre him heading out to the final battle, okay? I think that those are it's relatable in the sense that it's the most realistic by far. And I'll talk about this when I do Chainsaw Man videos, so if you want to take me up and fight on that, you have to wait for the video, I think. The most realistic and honestly, in some senses, most relatable manga protagonist motivation that you can find in any series. Because, reality is, let's take a character like Guts. No way am I saying Denji is a better written character than Guts. I'm talking purely in one aspect, which is that if you listen to the things Denji says and the way that he thinks, it's fucking simple, human, and relatable. It's very, very basic, and in that sense, that's why he feels like a very realistic protagonist. Guts, you and I are never going to experience, God help us, the things that Guts has experienced, right? So we can feel for him and imagine a lot of what he goes through, right? And a lot of that comes through in the brilliant writing and everything and dialogue, but it's not exactly relatable pains for most of us, right? There are things that obviously we might go through in our personal lives that are similar in a sense and might make us feel like we carry the same pain, and it might be interesting to imagine similarly what Guts goes through. But we're never literally going to be experiencing the things that Guts goes through. And his motivations, look, most of us are not driven by, let's be honest, most of us are not driven through life by these two strong these two strong motivators to, one, either get revenge, hunt down and get revenge on and murder. This is not a universal driving motivation to devote your life to hunting down your best friend turned arch nemesis, kill them, thereby getting revenge for everything that they've done to you in the past, right? Most of us are not out on this quest for revenge, right? Most of us are simply not out living our lives trying to desperately protect those that are precious to us from, all sorts of calamities and monsters, right? These sort of powerful ideals that come through in stories, right? Risking your life to protect things you care about, etc., and devoting your life to that. Or alternatively, going on a long-winded quest to hunt down and kill the person that you've sworn revenge against. Those are not relatable things. The way Denji thinks and the kind of things that he cares about and what he's got on his mind and on his plate, those are very relatable, right? And there's a particular speech that you could give from, one of those chapters final battle that kind of lays out probably the most blunt and realistic shonen protagonist, I think, that, and, in some ways manga protagonist that I've read, not saying he's the best written by far. There are many characters, Thorfinn, etc., that are much, much more well written. It's just that Denji you got to give props to him for the author just having the simplicity in some sense to just write a main character like that. That's maybe the most relatable main character out there, in my opinion. Some people saying, okay, nobody relates to Guts. All right, maybe you guys relate to Guts, but I'm saying that Denji is maybe more relatable to more people. All right. Again, not saying Denji's better written, but you guys get it. Insatiable Hunger says, Con, simplicity / blue ball level Tagashi. Simp City / blue ball level Tagashi. I'm not going to put Sim City in there. I think it's got great female characters, which I don't think is a con. Charcy Scorpio, thanks, appreciate it. Miss Super, thanks, Phantom Greyfire from Refixy Sar. Morge Tatsuya Nagamin says Kaido isn't the final villain. Also, isn't Luffy not being a hero a huge red flag? I don't think that's a huge red flag. I think kind of got to go back and see. I think that there's some level of inconsistency between how Luffy pitched himself early on, at the end of Act 1 in Wano, to now, basically, to the villagers. The idea that Luffy's a hero, not a hero, it literally goes back and forth each arc. Like, look at the end of Dressrosa versus the end of Wano. Look at the end of Act 1 compared to this act. Like, it goes back and forth. I think I got to reread to get a better idea. Kaido not being the final villain. I don't know if it's like confirmed. It could mean different things. I don't really know. I'm trying not to think too much about that. Thomas Kaz says Power and Denji is one of the best guy plus girl relationships in shonen/seinen manga. It's completely platonic and feels extremely realistic. I think Power and Denji is a great duo, and I think it's hilarious. And I do like what do you call the Power Denji relationship quite a bit, like you said, for what it is, and it is platonic, and just the fact that Power is a devil and she has no romantic interest in Denji ever and helps cut off that possibility, I think helps quite a bit. James Sharp says Fire Punch greater than Chainsaw Man. Yeah, I don't really know about that because I haven't read it. All right. Where are we at? It's a great manga that's wanked over to no end, says Drusser. All right, let's get into some pros and cons. So I could actually make some progress here. Pros, cons. I'm not going to put like Denji into the pros or anything like that. I don't think he's a con. I think he serves what he needs to serve. Someone said Simp City, so you know what? I'll give it... No, I'm not going to give that as a pro or con. Scope says Kabeni's car. I don't know if that's a pro or con. That's definitely a pro, though. I'll put Makima in pros. No question. People are saying Fire Punch was better, so I'm good with that. Paneling? Yeah, Chainsaw Man has the best paneling in manga as far as I've seen. Chainsaw Man cons bad pacing, mediocre art. I'm not going to put art in that, but I think pacing is awesome. I think Chainsaw Man has like ideal pacing. It has the perfect pacing for what it is. It's just a roller coaster. I don't think I've actually read a series that's as much of a, like, it's kind of like a thrill ride from start to finish. You know, you just fly through Chainsaw Man because it's just so fun. Nyanka Hana says, oof, Morge be barking. Oh, Mork be barking. Yeah, no, Makima, Makima's Makima's got me too. She's got everyone. Thomas Cass says, I don't know if I'm a bit of an idiot, but I find it a bit confusing at times. I think that it introduced some confusing ideas maybe towards the tail end, but because there's a part 2, I'm kind of just waiting. Pros, still continuing. Part 2 coming. Let's get some cons in. People mentioned some cons, but I didn't accept them, so... Cons, the ending was rushed. I think ending for part 1, not... I mean, it's not a... I thought it was good. I thought it was fine. I thought the last chapter was bad. I thought the last chapter was kind of not good. But the ending overall, I thought was decent. I'll put the last chapter. Put that... Yeah, we need some cons. I mean, it obviously has it's one of the, you know what? I'd say Chainsaw Man is one of those series that's like, it's hard. It's like Full Metal. Not in the sense that it's written any way similar to Full Metal, but with Full Metal, it's like a series that I think is good in a lot of ways. I don't have any strong cons for Full Metal, to be honest. It's just that the things I think it's good at, it's not like I think Full Metal is very, very solid all around. It's how do I say this? It's a series that I think I would rate good overall all around, basically, and I don't have many cons for it. Does that mean that it's like perfect? No, it's just that I don't think that there's anything that's like a glaring really con about Full Metal. With Chainsaw Man, I also think that the most I can say the thing is like definitely I didn't like at all was last chapter. Everything else, it's like it's good at what it tries to do. It's not like some legendary masterpiece manga or something like that, but it's good at everything that it tries to do, in my opinion. And I don't think that there's a like glaring huge con, right? Because, you know, even if you want to get into like maybe like certain characters not fully deeply fleshed out or something like that, right? You could say that for several characters, but at the same time, the way it treats its characters, it's very clear that it has no reverence for its characters, and its goal is not to like immerse you into some like really deep character storyline that's, you know, that draws you in that sense. Rather, it prefers the fact that its characters can be offhandedly axed whenever, and it enjoys that. It is like, I think it falls under that sort of Full Metal Alchemist type of category for me, where it's like, I would never say that this is like the greatest shit ever, but I like it quite a bit, and it's good overall at everything that it tries to do. It has no significant glaring cons, and obviously Chainsaw Man, what it tries to do in Full Metal, very, very different. But, there's nothing really huge that seemed to stick out to me. See, like, Veridian says world building isn't that great in my opinion, but it's like a 90 chapter, it's 100 chapters long. Like, what series has great world building in that length? And keep in mind, Chainsaw Man chapters are very light on dialogue and everything like that. So in the first place, there's not that, like, the chapters, you could say it's 100 chapters, but really it's probably more like 75 if you really want to talk in terms of like average amount of content compared to other series, Potential Pizza says, I genuinely cannot understand putting Chainsaw Man under that same umbrella. It's got such obvious cons. You guys got to list them. Shell Cannon says, the author likes being edgy with no substance to the edge. I think edgy's like a weak way to attack Chainsaw Man, because it's kind of like, to me, it does the job of what it's trying to do, for the most part. Felix C says, con that confusing Santa crap. No, that Santa crap was great. Am I just defending Chainsaw Man blindly here? Like, edgy to me is kind of like when an author is kind of like relishing in how dark or gory or like, like macabre it's trying to be or something like that. Chainsaw Man, when it's like, it doesn't linger on that really any more than it needs to. What it's going for more is like, it's not so much edgy, but rather, I guess, surprise, like continued surprise, continued moments of suspense, and then twisting in a certain direction that you don't expect, right? Like, the greatest scenes for Chainsaw Man to me are not like edgy scenes necessarily. Chano Wong says, more a bit biased, Chainsaw Man lol. I mean, like, yeah, it's fair. Drusser says, 100% defending Chainsaw Man blindly. I'm a big fan of it, and I think your takes are nuts. My takes are nuts? I don't think they're nuts. Okay, let's hear Potential Pizza, because I want to hear his opinion. Chainsaw Man has a very pandery protagonist. The pacing is super rushed and relies on shock value. Fair. It just changes the status quo abruptly. A lot of the characters, like Aki, are bland as fuck. Yeah, so, I mean, I give you characters, but again, I don't think that it's trying that hard on characters. I disagree that it changes the status quo abruptly, but I disagree that that's a con, because I would say that would be the case if it's changing the status quo for no reason. To me, the way at least I recall reading the flow of Chainsaw Man is that, like, each major shift or surprise change in direction for the series did ultimately feel like it was leading to that same final destination of what it wanted to do with Makima and how it wanted to lead Genji's journey to his eventual final confrontation with that, right? So to me, everything kind of does naturally head in that direction, and it's more so just It's more so just kind of like setting up a pretense of what the series is about for large sections of the first half, while still hinting at a lot of things being not what you would expect, which it does pretty well throughout the first half. And then over time, it starts changing our expectations by chopping off pieces of what you would call, I guess, were the previous status quo, and then leading us into basically the actual path of what the story's really been heading towards from the start. So I don't view that as a bad thing, but I could see why you would. Okay, let's put some things. Kabeni served no purpose. No, she served for comedy. Edom says, you look a lot cooler with a parrot on your shoulder. Consider the investment. Thanks for that advice. Let's put something in the con so I don't look like I'm a blind whatever. Okay, I'll put this. Characters not that deep. How about that? Characters not that deep / fleshed out. I agree, Eki kind of sucks. All right. I think no more pros, we need cons. Yeah, but I just like the series. Leave me alone. Phantom Greyfire says, Miss Super from Felix C. Con that confusing Santa crap. No, we covered that. Drusser says, Kabeni's comedy is overrated. Okay, I'll put Kabeni down because I also don't find her that funny. Okay. Thomas Gadd says, the power system of giving your body to devils was cool but underutilized. I agree. It's the power system. I think I've done enough cons to satisfy people. And I'm also very hungry at this point. So I think I'm off the hook for Chainsaw Man. Here is the big thing. Here's the big thing. I forgot. I gotta announce it to you all. So there is now a new channel, which is, let's see. I don't know if I'll even be able to find it. All right, 1 subscriber, 3 videos. Here is the new channel. I'm ending the stream. Oops, wrong thing. I'm ending the stream, but I'm leaving you guys with this. We have a highlights channels now. Batman for Real says Makima fans IRL are Amber Heard supporters. Listen, I don't support Makima as being right. I like Makima as a villain. Leave me alone. All right. This is the new channel. I'll be giving it a much bigger shout out in tomorrow's video. Obviously, this is just a small stream with like 900 or so people. Small stream. Guess it's a big stream. I don't know. But this is a highlights channel. You guys can go check out highlights from past streams. I should have labeled these a little bit better, but it's a highlights channel basically. So this stream, for example, will be the first new video that goes up on this highlights channel. So I'm going to keep promoting this highlights channel. Obviously, you guys can go check it out. Feedback is very much welcome, but for a long time, people have been saying that, is there a way that we can watch the streams, just not the full fucking stream? So this is just basically a new thing. You guys can check out the highlights. I think they're somewhat entertaining. So it's from chapter 1049 post-discussion stream, I think 1050 post-discussion stream. I'm not going to do all of the streams, basically, but those are just a couple we're starting with. And then this stream will be edited and turned into a highlight video. I think it'll come out Wednesday. So you guys can check that out. Browse the channel. See what it's about. See if you guys like it. New videos will keep coming out on that. Moored streams still exists. This is just a new one for highlights purely. That's pretty much it. See, Vertend Avatian says, damn, I just got here, missed the stream. You don't have to worry about that because there's now a highlights channel where you will be able to catch all of the best parts of this stream come Wednesday. So with that, I will leave you all to check out the channel. I think I'm doing this thing now where I'm trying to give a bit more of a pause before I end the stream so that it times up right and doesn't seem that weird to you guys. So I guess we'll just do a pause.